Hello.
Hey,
How's it going?
going good.
Good.
I just wrote something. That's why I got distracted for a minute.
Yeah, no worries.
I wrote, I hate capitalism, but you have to hand it to its propaganda that lots of the working class defend religiously on wealth faith, that an ability to challenge with an inability to challenge capitalism as if it is their one true religion. It
Yeah.
saddens me deeply.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, I don't know. I just thought I would. It also relates to always everything else in my life, or everyone's life, really. That's why I
yeah.
always laugh when people I told you before, get into like, oh well, this issue, that issue. There's constantly like hundreds of issues.
Yeah.
People, in fact, anyone who thinks that they're in a sense only a one issue person, you're just wrong.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't know how to exactly.
Yeah, that's right.
In a nice way, you're just simply wrong. Yeah. You're constantly dealing with stuff. But I think it's part of the same, like someone asked, why don't people see the problems of capitalism? Why they have such problems with socialism or anarchism or whatever? Well, denial that they have built in, like a filter, where they just, that's got to be bad stuff. I've been told it's bad.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's believe what you were taught your whole life, which I mean everybody kind of does in some ways.
Right, and which I told you, which is why for me as an axiologist and someone who wants to teach, I'm not going out into the public because I want to show off,
right,
or fucking hurt people, and laugh about it or something. That absolutely is not. Every time actually I talk to people, my goal is that they learn.
Right.
Especially that they learn that there is a value to follow reason.
For sure.
Or to understand value.
Yeah.
Just super important to me.
Yeah.
So, and that, because that actually brings a whole bunch of issues. Like where the people tried to challenge me. I sent you the last thing I sent you, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, that's her response.
Right.
But, we'll read that in a second. But I want to read the second to last thing I sent you, actually, which is that because the person had said, well, Damien, like sort of like the famous, nonsense that most theists will say, what if you're wrong, but it wasn't exactly that, but it's something very close to that. What if I'm wrong,
Yeah.
And then I responded by saying, I'm always looking for valid and reliable reason and evidence. It is not an issue to change to what is accurate or demonstrated as fact for me.
Yeah.
It just isn't. They act as if it's some kind of like moral dilemma.
Yeah.
The moral dilemma for me is that I stay accurate.
Right.
That's my moral dilemma. Not, see, what I'm saying? The moral dilemma is for me is not that I have to change. Holy shit. If I need to change, I want to welcome that. I mean,
yeah, that's right. It's not like, what if you're wrong? Should, like, okay, show me then. Like,
right?
like, like that's what I'm saying. It's okay. What if I'm wrong? Then what do I follow? How do I know that what you're telling me is true?
Right. But then this goes back to the same thing. I got the third thing I sent you, right, was about the satanic cookies. Because just like, it's so irritating, like the Graham Hancock, right? Like we're gonna talk about where my thoughts, this whole thing. We're not gonna read any of the blog, right? Okay. We're just gonna look at the pictures because it's just too much. And also, I need you to see what I'm saying to get, instead of just believing me, bro. Please go to the blog though and read more stuff and look, because there's links and you can even go to videos if you feel it. But I'm just saying, I want to show the main reason. But before I go into that though, I just want to say about what's accurate. That's just what I'm trying to show. Like you'll see very soon, like when we look at the blog. That accuracy is super important to me. That is how I build what I believe.
Yeah.
Which is why the scientist kind of people look at my stuff and don't go, Damien, this is wrong, that's wrong, you're doing this. They don't do that to me because I form it the way kind of they do, not trying in a sense exactly to be science, but see, science is a part of a philosophy that you're supposed to do things accurately.
Yeah.
That it's demanded upon you to try to remove biases, right? So that's what I try to do. You see what I'm saying? Going back to biases. So about this Oreo thing, right? It's calling it Satanism or constantly, it just reminded me how these Christian evangelicals especially get so into conspiracies. Like there's not one of them. I mean, like just imagine you ask a Christian conservative, do they have a conspiracy? It's more like how many?
Yeah,
because they don't have like a single conspiracy at all.
Yeah.
Anyways, but my point was going back to, I think that actually it hurts the working class. I'm not saying there's not, to me, Christians that can be, for the working class, but
of course,
that's not the norm, and certainly not on the right at all.
That's right.
Fucking even close. Anyways, so my point is the Orioles. So they're constantly looking for these nonsense things to say, oh, this is a conspiracy of Satanism, instead of actually looking at the evil of capitalism they're experiencing every single day. It fucking blows my mind. Anyways.
Yep. No, it's like in the message you say conspiracy theories are a distraction from real issues, and that's literally what they're for, right?
Well, and I had never thought about it before. I just got irritated.
Yeah.
When I saw that thing about Satanism, I just went, they work so hard for nonsense.
Yeah.
Instead of ever exposing shit that really matters. I'm like, it made me a little sad for a second. Like,
yeah. Because
I know it's not going to happen in my lifetime, but I sure was hoping that anarchism could happen sometime soon. But the more I look at people, I just go,
the harder it seems. Eh?
Oh,
yeah.
But I feel like we're doing a good thing because we're showing education, right? That's what our show is all about. Well, I think it's pretty hard for ideas to come in here and take it easy when you have a skeptic and a rationalist.
Yeah. Yeah, like we're automatically
literally nothing's coming through.
That's right. Unless you got some real strong evidence for what you're saying.
We're both of us are see, that's what people are good. We're skeptic and rationalists don't have to be enemies. You're saying everything needs to be challenged, and I'm going, I always challenge everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
it doesn't it's always going to get scrutinized for sure.
Well, but that's how to me, the truth is best championed in the sunlight of challenge.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyway, I want to read the other thing too about socialism. Yep. Right. So this Jehovah's Witness, somebody, because I don't, and I probably hate that I said they, so I'm for sure going to say they. They said, go ahead and read it, Corey. I sent it to you. Socialism, communism.
Sure. Yeah, they say socialism, communism, Marxism, those who can't are not treated with mercy. Mercy is a Judeo-Christian concept derived from our creator, Jehovah, God. Mm-hmm. Okay.
And what did Damien say?
Damien's response, is that the God of the Bible? The one that still holds a grudge against humanity because of one mistake two people did 6,000 years ago? The God of the Bible.
Stop right there. Tell me that's not a good one.
Yeah, no, that's good.
Doesn't hold a grudge. I don't know. Original sin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The God of the Bible is a genocidal monster. He killed everyone on the earth, supposedly, but for one family that God favored. And let's not forget God admitted it was wrong and would never do it again.
Right. So that's to shut them up from trying to say, oh, well, God didn't do anything wrong. Oh, really? Because he says he did. And he says, oh, and I'll give you a rainbow because I remind you every time it rains, I'm sorry, I won't do it again.
Yeah, that's right.
They don't know the Bible, do they? Oh, sorry, no. Corey.
That's great. Well, most of them haven't even read it, right? Yeah, most of them haven't even read it. So, yeah, it's like socialism, communism, Marxism, those who can't are not treated with mercy. You literally don't have any idea what you're talking about. Like, what are you even saying here?
Yeah, it's just, because the glory of capitalism, Judeo-capitalism, because that's what she wants to say, right? The glory of Judeo-capitalism, just like I said at the beginning, right, it saddens me. I was really talking about her. Or
Yeah.
they, excuse me, they,
them.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I don't care what their pronouns are because we can use they and them.
Yep, that's right. Yeah. It's actually neutral to use they and them. So
well, that is my point. I'm not trying to misgender them.
right.
I'm just informing the world that this person would probably not like to be known as a them, but they're still them.
Yep. So, that's right.
Anyways. Well, speaking of gender, I want to talk about. I heard you do a show with. Justin on gender, and of course, gender matters to me. Being born intersex, right, and then in my entire life being genderqueer and being forced to be male, and always fucking up, and people like. And I was 15 or 16. I can't remember. I had spent like my friends. I told them I didn't show anybody. Right. I had spent like. I can't remember how long because I don't want to make it, but it was long, six months or something. I don't know, a couple months. Making a bike, and I painted it black and pink, hot pink, because I thought hot pink is fucking awesome.
Right.
And it was like a lot of hot pink, like enough to it looks like a girl's bike, right? But I thought for me that was fucking awesome. I liked it, but I also didn't back then know I was intersex and genderqueer. I just was doing inappropriate, supposedly, right? Gender behaviors for a big tough male, it's 6 foot and 200 pounds, whatever. They're at the time they're so they when my friends saw it, they go, "Oh, you can repaint the bike," and I said, "No, I painted it like this, so we can change the pink, handlebar, tape stuff." And I go, "I had to go look for that.
Right?
You don't even have that at every store."
Yeah.
and the water bottles, and I go, I bought the pink ones. I wanted it hot pink. It looks awesome to me, and they walked away. Anyways, so I mean, it's been an issue in my life a lot.
Yeah,
my gender, and I generally just use he or him. I actually don't. I see you put it, which is good. I don't put it because I really don't care. I am intersex, so. But I mean, I usually tell people, if you respect me, you just say he and him, because I just don't want to deal with all that, because it's not like as soon as I say that's what I am, all of a sudden everyone's welcoming or understanding,
right.
Including, I'm just saying, sometimes even people that could be trans or something. I'm non-binary. I'm genderqueer, and I'm also intersex. So I don't even accept the limit of a male and female, thing, because I know I exist. Anyway, but my point about that too, about gender, was for our Shell Mound people, we're going to do a thing that talks about very quickly about different stuff, DNA, but a little portion of it becomes Graviton people or Gravetian people. I might say it wrong, but
I never can remember how the right
because their first burial at about 36 to 32 or whatever it is, maybe 31 or something. Anyways, it's hard to tell exactly, but this one burial, right? That's the first burial of the Gravitins, which is the first evidence of shamanism in a sense.
Right.
They have a male burial, and then they have two boys, but they're dressed. One's like a boy, one's dressed like a female.
Okay.
And has female toys, different. I mean, everything is different in a sense, or a lot of it's different, not everything, but one, their clothes are different, the toys are different, the tools are different. I mean, it's different.
So generally just a general different gender expression.
Yeah, and it's because one has a doll, or has a knife. You know what I'm saying? It's like a really, really different. Anyway, my point in a doll with a skirt or whatever. But not that men can't wear skirts. I'm just making, or that they did back then. That's just the males back then had pants. So I'm just not that big deal to me either way. I think that closed gendering stuff is just stupid. So literally to me, just doesn't fucking matter at all.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
Zero. How you dress. Nothing doesn't. I mean,
if you like it, wear it. Yeah.
Anyways, just making a point about that. So, but I was just saying, so the Gravitins have the first Graviton burial basically is transgender.
Yeah.
Or genderqueer or something, right? Yeah. Or gay. I mean, I don't know what, something that they were being a more, feminine nature or whatever. My point is, So these people are like, oh, this new stuff we're supposed to accept with transgender. I'm like, motherfucker, it's 30,000 years old. What the hell are you talking about?
It's not new.
And they're like, well, or it could be someone, could be gay. Oh, like the 31,000-year-old Graviton burial. Of course, I'm going to show pictures to people so they can see this when I'm talking, but 31,000-year-old Graviton burial of the three people that are all young men, and one of them has their hand in the other one's crotch. I think there's a religious significance that has to do with actually like DNA related or genetic family or whatever, or clan, which I think is clan probably.
Okay.
Relates to clan ideas, because that's to me, they're picking up totemistic ideas. Because totemism is religion about the clan. Shamanism is religion about the spirit world in a sense. They're not. They can run together. In other words, they're not really that, because they're dealing with different stuff in a sense. Whatever.
Right. So they're not incompatible, but they can be separate or together.
And they actually became together, and now they're generally together.
Right.
Until some of it, actually, all religion really has parts of all of it, but animism, totemism, paganism, shamanism. Well, not all of them have paganism, but all the other ones basically, because they're older. Paganism, to me, is about 12,000, and it's definitely not as dispersed.
Okay.
As the other stuff.
It got interrupted by other things, I guess.
Yeah, well, because they already had pre-beliefs.
Yeah.
They already have heavy animism, heavy totemism. They don't want that shit. Or heavy shamanism. They're like, fuck them. Don't need it. Talk to God. I do it all the time. We go to the shaman. He does it.
Why am I adding that thing onto my beliefs I already have?
Yeah. Anyways, so I'm just saying, so going back to I'm just saying about gender, it relates to the stuff we're talking about. But I'm just saying that these people, so what did she say? And I always do facts. What does she say? Can you read what she says? I'm going to block you.
Yeah, I'm going to have to block you now. Your artwork is repulsive, and you have been raised all the way wrong. Your mind is full of anger, prejudice, and gross thoughts, and very lacking in research, knowledge, facts, and truth. Go to jw.org if you want a Bible study.
No, I don't need. You need a Bible study. I don't.
So I'm going to go out on a limb and say jw.org is like a religious site that has
it's Jehovah's Witness.
Okay, yeah. So then they've got their particular slant on it.
Right. Not just go read the Bible. No, go to our specific view of the Bible, please.
That's right. You got to go listen to the people that I listen to.
They're the only ones that have the truth.
That's right.
Yeah. Anyways. But going back to truth, the same thing though, like we were talking about before with Graham Hancock, which is involved with racism and stuff.
Yeah.
In other words, racists like him. Remember, I sent you that thing.
Yeah.
Racists are like, Graham Hancock stuff's really useful. It's really to help people get the grasp racialism.
Yeah, like literal Nazis.
Yeah, literal Nazis. Yeah, and they even say, boy, this stuff sounds like the Third Reich. When you read Graham Hancock, sounds like the Third Reich. White people do this. White people gave things. Yeah. It's wrong. Anyways, and also to me, Graham Hancock runs under the thing that you have not watched anything of DNA, which that's what we're going to do in the thing. That's why I wanted to make it so distinctly, hideously DNA, tons of pictures and stuff, because I want to break it down that you get this. It is not a bunch of guesses like Graham Hancock says. Now, sometimes there is not understanding about exactly which way the movements were.
Okay.
But this is not the same as saying that white people did stuff. I mean, the stuff that he says, their DNA does not support what he fucking says. So I'm just saying. And then, of course, and then the other thing is that so the evidence doesn't support the evidence that we have does not support what he thinks, and he admits there's no evidence to support him. Period. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say, who gives a shit what Graham Hancock thinks?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. If the existing evidence contradicts what you say, and you have no other evidence to support what you're saying, how can anybody listen to what you're saying?
And on top of it, it's super good for racists.
Yeah, that's right.
That should already, but like I told you, just the fact when you say the indigenous people didn't build it, I'm thinking racist.
Yeah.
It's just,
it's a pretty big red flag.
Ethnocentric or something. I mean, it's certainly not, or something bigoted. maybe you think that they're simpletons or something, like they try to say about the hunter-gatherers that are not simple.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, those ones. All right.
Simple hunter-gatherer.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you must not know shit about hunter-gatherers, I said. Oh, hey, thank you for playing. So let's go to the blog. I want to deal with this about the mound origins, because this goes back to like with the pyramids. See, this is Graham Hancock's, everything is connected, right? Well, I'm showing you, kind of, but not absolutely anywhere close to what you say.
Right. Yeah.
No. It was absolutely not one culture. It was not one thing. In fact, it wasn't even one set of DNA, and that's what we're going to talk about. So let's go a little quick, and I'll do the pictures. I'm not going to go detail of every single thing on the pictures. This is not about that. This is trying to give you the big picture.
Okay.
So we're going to just read the top red thing. Shell mounds or shell middens.
Shell middens, shell mounds, or shell rings are not just trash, as was believed. Rather, they can be monumental architecture. Even some were used as temples.
Right, temples. So these are absolutely not just garbage. Plus, I always think it's funny when they go, it's 50 feet high. 50 feet high is not an accident.
That's not, that's
what
right.
the fuck? But see, I feel like it's back to the same as capitalism. You look for every other explanation, the conspiracy, instead of just going, wow, the natives did that on purpose.
Right. Yeah, instead of just being amazed at the ingenuity or the way they're doing things. Yeah.
And why is it, though, they're always amazed at the Egyptian pyramids, and yet the native stuff, they don't even care, or they say, it's too complicated for natives. Like, what the
Well, to be fair, they think it's too complicated for the Egyptians too. That's why they're constantly like, it's aliens or whatever.
Speaking of which, real quick, let's go to that one picture I showed you, right? The two pictures. So the first picture where the guy is standing on top of the thing, all indigenous hunter-gatherers, right? Simple people to those, bigots, right? Are absolutely not simple in the fact that they constructed this whole like structure and rope system, without any nails or you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Yeah.
No, it's pretty amazing. They're not actually
primitive.
Like notched wood tied together with massive ropes.
Impressive, right? Like you said again, we need to say, wow, these hunter-gatherers are impressive and amazing.
Yeah.
Instead of saying, they couldn't have done it, to go, it is amazing. They were so not primitive and ingenuity and stuff that they built it. And I think it really is irritating too when he goes, some white people gave it to these people. The ability to do this is so ridiculous.
Yeah.
Q DNA took it over, dickhead. Maybe C DNA, but for sure Q did. Anyways, it's foolishness. Anyways, so the next picture, right? It shows all the mounts. Everything in red is a certain time, 6,500 to 2,000. That's what everything in red. And to me, definitely, there's a lot involved in why this is the case of all these. It's different migrations. To me, they center kind of in Lake Baikal or whatever, Siberia, just above China and whatever, Mongolia.
Right.
That area, I think, relates to most of why this is this way. Anyways, let's go down to the next thing. So then shell mounds, earth mounds, raised platforms, and pyramids, which I think are somewhat related to mythological thinking and cultural beliefs that are similar. So, and then we talked about before, you go ahead and read it. Religion, ideas.
Sure. Religion ideas moved both directly by movements or migrations of people as well as by trade or transfer, not related to migration. I see actual movements or migrations having more influence on the similar religion beliefs to me, but both were involved in how religions evolved.
Which I think is an important thing. Once again, it's not all or nothing.
Yeah.
The truth is, wow, a whole bunch of different things happened.
Yeah, that's right. A bunch of people were moving around, doing different things.
And that had a big effect on everything. Yeah. Oh,
wow. Wow. Go figure.
And so this right here, we're going to go real quick. I'm not going to go into this culture, but it's like 30,000 years old. And it just shows the black arrows just show how these different cultures go together. And see where the one that says Sungahir or whatever it is.
Yep.
That's the graviton. That's the one that had the transgender.
Okay.
or
Interesting.
something.
Right. Gender nonconforming or whatever we might.
Gender nonconforming. There you go. Definitely.
Yeah.
So, put it this way. It was enough different that I'm sure the right wing would think it was woke. So.
Right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
If we can achieve that,
Yeah, exactly.
So, anyways, let's keep going. And then it's near Lake Baikal, and the Malta right there. That's the one that actually is the ancient North Eurasians DNA that goes all over the place, including the Americas and everything. Right. Which the Malta later it relates to Q, which is Q that goes over. We're going to look at that. So, and there's different tools. Right? We're going to go down. You see where it has a tiara at this site, which I think this is already showing a tiara is authority.
Yep.
Or something. But I think this is probably like just a group leader or something. Not forced authority. And probably also has to earn it and probably can lose it. Because even the Trinket had something like that a person could, in a sense, be something. But everybody had to agree with what you had to inspire people to want to join you to fight or do or whatever.
Right.
You couldn't just say, hey, this is what it is, do it or else.
Right.
Anyways, I'm just saying, so different kind of leadership. But I do think this is already showing to me this type of a thing.
Okay.
And but you see though, in the same similar area in Siberia, there already was a 50 to 40,000 year old tiara from the Decentivans. So this is not a new concept.
Yeah.
Anyways, and it could have just been something religious, because also these little notches I think might relate to stars or whatever.
Okay. It's interesting.
So that's why these little dots and patterns. I think it might relate to stars.
Yeah.
Or whatever, or counting the moon or something like. Anyways.
Right, like cycles or whatever.
Right. So it has like a religious thing. So, but anyway, so then all these cultures that are listed on there, right? This next thing, go to the next picture. This is to show, of course, to remind the people, the bigots, we're all one human family.
Yeah.
And we all came from Africa.
Yeah.
So all of our ancestors, in a sense, old enough, 70,000, are African. So anyways, this shows how they all break down in ancient North Eurasians. See that right there? That is where it said Malta.
Okay. Yep.
40% goes to the ancestral Native Americans.
Right.
Yeah. And do you see what time? 25 to 20,000.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's telling you. But you see, you go down Siberians, the ancient North Eurasians go to Siberians also, and they also go down to Eskimo Inuit. But see how it's not the same people in the sense. One goes down, but it gave stuff all along the way.
Right.
People from that culture. Anyways, and see Athabascans, these are the Tlingit.
Okay.
So it's just showing that how they get DNA from different things. So going back to like Graham Hancock, we know things.
Yeah, that's right.
Like, I these people that I don't know, and this place I don't know, and they did stuff that I don't have proof of, and it's just like, what the? Yeah. How did people even get inspired by that? Anyways, I don't know. But let's go down to the next picture, which also has a picture next to it, and that's the one we're going to care about, where it shows the actual breakdown in DNA. Okay. And so the one, see the little N1C down at the bottom?
Yes.
N1C is the people like the Sami we've talked about before.
Right.
This has to do with the languages up there, Finland, Sami, Hungarian. This has to do with those languages.
Okay.
That DNA I'm talking about.
Yep.
And then the QDNA, see how there's Q1b and there's also Q1a, right?
Yes.
So there's two things. And then there's R, but there's R1, there's also R2. And then there's R1a and R1b. So I'm just showing you that things break off, but if you go back far enough, everything's all related.
Yeah. Yeah.
You see that, right?
Yep, for sure.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm just showing you that I really want to make the DNA is the issue I want to be addressing. And all these things next to it is like time, like at this time, things were happening.
Yeah.
But anyway, so to keep going to the next map, because like I said, we're going to go real fast. So this just shows all these different configurations, and you see where the blue is Q.
Okay, yep. Yep.
You can see Q, and then see our QM120 goes to Lake Baikal. That little thing there, that's Lake Baikal. And you see that different ones, see some people kept going and didn't go to Lake Baikal, right?
Right. Yeah, some people went all the way across.
See, exactly. And once again, we kind of understand. So the Graham Hancock, they're like, well, this one, culture circumnavigated the world, and no DNA.
Yeah, that's right.
Done.
Because they all did it in one trip, right? They circumnavigated the globe.
Oh,
and then went back home.
Yeah,
so naturally they didn't leave any trace.
That's how conquerors normally do things.
Yeah, that's right.
They leave no DNA, and they have no impact except giving everybody good stuff.
That's right. Yeah, that's how it works. That's how it's always worked, right?
Like, how does that not sound like fantasy just as you explain it?
Yeah, no kidding.
Like, Graham Hancock people will fight you forever. And it's like, why, dude? He has nothing to have you fight for.
Yeah.
Anyways, so that's why I'm trying to show the DNA to show not just why he's wrong, because, oh, God, he's wrong, but also so you can understand yourself and grasp, like, what happened and why it's, to me, just to make it real quick, multiple entries to the North America from Siberia come from Q. Not one time, multiple variations or versions of Q.
Yeah.
So that in different times too, meaning they group different ideas, even though everyone's like, well, it's just Q. Q is 97% of all South Americans, but they don't have the same one.
Right, yeah, because it mixed with other DNA before it came across and down, right?
Yeah. So, and some DNA, they don't have the oldest stuff, I don't believe. So, because I think everybody down there is under 9,000. That's why it all relates to the Tlingit. The Tlingit are 10,000 years old, Q DNA. And that has to do with also the Kennewick man in Seattle, who actually lived his life in Alaska.
Okay.
So probably a Tlingit.
Yeah.
Anyways, or proto-Tlingit, I should say, because the Tlingit are only 5,000 years old language. So proto.
Okay.
But yeah, same thing. Because that's what the DNA, like I told you, the certain DNA that the majority have, not all, but the majority have of Q relates directly back to the closest ancestor in all the way to the Tlingit.
Right.
Like skips all of North America, like 3,000 miles and Tlingit.
Wow.
And people think, oh yeah, there's no connection. That's just not paying it. I mean, it's not a guess, is what I'm trying to say. Is it really like, okay, get it? And I'm trying to show you why. So the first people that come in, just understand, to me, the first people came in probably had some form of primordial water beliefs. I think the first Q that this picture is showing. This is not the people that built mounds.
Okay.
So even though it's Q, it's not the right one. So let's go down to make that understandable.
Okay.
So the next picture right here is just showing the different understood dispersals of humans across and what time and all that. There's different times. Right.
Yeah.
So, but this isn't 100% accurate. This is just like, a good grouping of the ideas, right? So then I'm going to go down because I want to keep going. So then it shows Africa again. My next picture.
Yep.
See, it says A, that A becomes BT and BT becomes CT, And these are all different times too. They say different times on them.
Yep.
So they're showing, and then F is 60,000 and K is 55,000.
Right.
They're moving out of Africa. See, we're all Africans, going back to that racist dumbasses.
Yeah.
Like, we are all Africans. It's not a question. And you just need to understand that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so originally. And so K at 55. Then I show K turns into P1 at 40,000. See, that once again, this is not like the Graham Hancock, we're like, well, you just have to imagine that these people were doing this. And you're like, okay, where and when and why and who. And
right.
Yeah. So,
like, come on,
you should be demanding this kind of evidence. Anyways, so that's how you should build an argument. So 40,000, right? So the next picture right here, this is giving you an idea of what kind of happened in relation to NO and the DNA. And see, there's Lake Baikal or whatever it is. and this is nDNA. See how it goes to China?
Yep.
All the way in the corner where the NO goes and the N, they both go together.
Yep.
That's China. And near the edge of the page. And so, and then there's the Yukish man, and it shows. Anyways, you see the DNA is going all over the place. Some DNA, it's just splitting. Anyways, let's go down to the next one. So then it just shows the nDNA. Then from there goes back up to Lake Baikal, right?
Right.
Bam, right to Lake Baikal. Then from Lake Baikal shoots up to Finland.
Right.
Again, just to show you how DNA moves around, and I know what we're talking about. Well, we've already talked about this multiple times and other things. I have art of it also. Not. But anyway, so this right here, this is like kind of showing P and R. This is like a possible guess about where P went. It's hard to see because P splits off. Well, because it kind of splits. And so it goes like some P goes down into China and stuff, maybe even down to Australia or somewhere down there or whatever. And then another P goes up to another way. So that's the other thing too, is understand like these different versions, right?
Okay.
Let's go to the next one because I know, and I'm not trying to confuse people. I'm just trying to show you it is confusing, but that's a good thing because that's reality, not this simpleton, it must have been aliens bullshit because I don't think indigenous people could do things.
Yeah, exactly.
So it just goes back again. One human family, right, Corey? I mean, this is not a guess. Okay?
Yeah, that's right.
This is showing you the male Y, haplogroups, and if you notice, Q and R are the youngest.
Yeah, go figure, eh?
Right. So, anyways, then let's go to K, the next picture, and I'm trying to break everything down to help. So the K, then see how it breaks. So one side is N and O. O is big in China, even today, right? So O, because O, N, and C, I think, make up Han Chinese.
Ah, okay.
Anyway, and actually, I think those are called like the three fathers of Asia or something like that.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember exactly, but something like that. Anyways, but you see out here, P1 turns into Q and R. See, R is important because R1B gets the blonde hair.
Right.
And probably light skin. Right. So, and probably red hair too. So the point is also goes back to Graham Hancock. He has a blog on his thing. It says, maybe R1B went to the Americas and taught people. Maybe that's the proof he needed. Well, there's a problem because even though those do share a parental relationship and definitely have the similar religion, they're not.
R didn't go.
That's not what happened.
Right.
Thank you for playing, but you're wrong. Why? Let's go to the next picture. Okay. Because I'm trying to break this down, Corey. You see, I really put in effort this time.
For sure.
I'm like hammering you with fucking DNA. So this right here, once again, shows that kind of what I already talked about, but in a more of a big picture kind of way, right?
Right.
And if you notice, down in Argentina, right, it says 14.8. So almost 15,000 years ago,
right,
qDNA was in Argentina, or some DNA, right? I believe it was Q.
Yeah, like the southernmost tip of South America.
Right. So, yeah. But that's not the DNA that we're talking about for Shell Mounds. That's what I'm trying to get you. Multiple waves went in. So let's keep going. Right. Okay. Next picture shows how Q and C, and like what I told you before, these are the ones, Graham Hancock, that went to the Americas.
Right.
Like, why not just start with that? I don't know. Oh, that's right, because they're not white people.
Ah.
Yeah, that maybe that's it. Oh,
presents a problem for someone like that.
Yeah, but if you're following facts, which I like to do, that's my standard modus operandi. Let's just start with the facts first, then try to figure out ideas. So you see, for me to have an idea that they went to the Americas is not shocking since all the science points to that. Let's go to the next picture for the Graham Hancock people that don't grasp what R did in relationship to what Q did. Okay, so
Yeah.
Recapping the green. Do you see the picture of the green?
I do so.
You.
Yep.
That actually is okay to say that they went to the Americas.
Yeah,
if you
they're
say
going
that,
out.
that is okay, Graham Hancock. You don't like to say. You want to say R1B went there. Oh,
R1B.
Fuck are you talking about?
I don't see any.
If you notice, R1B absolutely does go to Turkey or Middle East. Yes. And then R1, a version of R1B, then later, 8,000 years ago, whatever,
right,
goes into Africa and then creates all the cultures, which we already talked about a little before, and eventually the Bantu expansion and all that, which we're going to get to that one of these days too. But anyway, so it's totally acceptable to say that R1B started in Siberia and went to Africa. Yeah, totally not okay to say that it has to be who taught all the Native Americans.
Right.
Yeah. Well, actually, I don't think it taught all the Africans either. So
probably not. Yeah.
Just to straighten that up, that someone doesn't misunderstand me.
Yeah, because there was people there. They didn't just go in and be like, "We're on top of you and we know how to do everything." Like
right, and exactly, especially because. But anyway, so I do think that they brought religion and absolutely influenced culture, and probably brought in some more new sexism shit. But all the African cultures are not sexist, so you have to assume that it either didn't work, or the other possibility is, which is probably also accurate in some way, is that there was ones that weren't that way. You can have different clans that, guess what, different groups of people can think differently.
Yep, that's right.
I mean, so yeah, all or nothing shit is just it's wrong.
Yeah.
So, anyways,
exactly.
Let's go ahead and read where it says the people reached Lake Baikal.
Sure. People reached Lake Baikal, Siberia, around 25,000 years ago. They, to Damien, were likely animistic shamanists who were also heavily totemistic as well. Being animistic thinkers, they likely viewed amazing things in nature as a part of or related to something supernatural or spiritual, or not just natural as explained by science. Spirit-filled, a spirit being relates to or with it. It is a spirit being, it is a supernatural or spiritual creature, or it is a great spirit or tutelary deity or goddess or god. From there comes mythology and faith in things not seen but are believed to somehow relate or interact with this real world that we know exists.
Right.
Both areas of Lake Baikal, one on the west side with the ancient North Eurasian culture, and one on the east side with the ancient Northern East Asian culture, later to become the ancient Northeast Asian culture. Areas are connected areas that, to Damien, are the origin ancestry religion area for many mythologies and religious ideas of the world by means of a few main migrations and many smaller ones, leading to a distribution of religious ideas that, even though are vast in distance, are commonly related to and centering on Lake Baikal and its surrounding areas like the Amur region and the Altai Mountains region.
Right, you can just stop there. So, or you can read right here, I'll read it. Ancient North Eurasian population had haplogroups, which is DNA, and these are all male. So, Y DNA of R, P, and then U would be female. So that's, and also going back, actually, I think they also ancient North Eurasian had female R, because R gives birth to female U. Female R, sorry. I need to say it correctly so people don't get confused. Female R, there's male R, that R1B, that has to do with the white people's skin, whatever, that Graham Hancock wants to be in the Americas, teaching them how to fucking build mounds.
Right.
And then, but there's also R female. It's called mtDNA, and that gives birth to U. And I think also it gives birth to haplogroup N. I think there's no way around for the MT, the female stuff, and then those ones in the Middle East 12,000 years ago, or 11,000, start doing pottery, and then that becomes the same female DNA that goes all the way into like Germany, And
Okay.
they can tell that that it's them. Like, it's not original people because of this DNA, this N, whatever. Anyways, so I'm just saying all this stuff is kind of related. So even though people think it's all different, like the first female shaman burial by the Gravitans was U5.
Okay.
So it says and Q DNA type. So to me, this is what's important to understand. To me, I think ancient North Eurasian populations, like I said, and those other ancient East Asians, Northeast Asians, I think these you need to understand it's both of them, because I think everyone only gives credit to the one that turned into white people. And just want to clarify for everyone listening, that is not my opinion from the facts.
Yeah.
So I talk about ancient North Eurasians like a shit ton because they absolutely had a massive shit ton of influence on like the whole world. But it was 100% wrong to think they had no influence from the ancient Northeast Asians.
Right.
They absolutely did. And anyone who thinks otherwise is wrong. So that's my soft opinion on it. On their show, that's why I said out of the archaeologists that they always go, "Oh God, Damien," because I just go out there,
Yeah.
But I try to always jump off of facts,
Yeah.
And then my it's logical, but I also have strong opinions because I think sometimes you just should. I think that always trying to not offend anybody is not the way to get truth out. I mean, if we wait for the average worker to realize that capitalism is killing them to join or to feel like they should at the least be happy when someone says socialism, not like it, or anarchism, not like see it as a danger to them.
Yeah.
Are we really going to have to wait just by osmosis for everyone to get this conclusion, or should we try to help them? I mean, I don't know. Should we guide children in morality, or should we just let them go and do whatever they want and
right
guide them at all? I don't. No. To me, anarchism is not about not having values or guiding principles. I think it's the exact opposite.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't even know what you're talking about. Like literally, it's a morality system. Even in fact, I know mine is because of course I'm an axiologist, so it literally to me everything should be. But it's not like I've cornered the market on this. No, people didn't grasp what it is. I had these thinking. Then Corey says, that sounds like anarchism. I read anarchism. I was like, yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah. That sounds familiar to me.
Yeah, and because I could, once I read it, everything pretty much sounded to me like how I would think, ethical. So I'm like, well, then how the fuck could I not say I agree with this? The fucking hell. Anyways, so I'm just saying, let's go back to the ancient North Eurasians and all this stuff. So I just wanted to just make a comment. Even though everyone talks about them a lot, and maybe people that don't know history stuff as much as I do, maybe go, who the hell is the ancient North Eurasians? Well, just think of, they're like Rome. They literally had more impact on humanity actually than Rome did, because Rome actually is part of them. So
right,
like a child of them or whatever, So this literally is a big deal. But like I said, you can't get into the stupid thinking that somehow they did all their ideas themselves, because they didn't. That's I wanted. Anyways, I'm gonna go on. I already said it. So then started P1, right? Next picture, P1 to Q. See, it makes all these different Qs. And if you notice too, that right, so it looks like one goes over here, QL54, right? Do you see that?
QL50. Yep.
Yeah. So QL54, it looks like it goes to the other bigger one, right? The next one, QM11. That's not the fact, though.
Okay.
Look at the dates.
Oh, right.
I'm just trying to help you understand. So
yeah.
QM110 whatever is an important one, right? 117. QM1107 is 20. What is that? I don't know. 20,000 or 26.
Right.
Is the other one is 15. So yeah, even though it looks like they're jumping together, you need to just read verse.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It looks like that's going to that one, but yeah, if that one's older than that one,
where it's at, that's the Golden Mountains.
Okay.
QM1107 is in the Golden Mountains. So the people in the Golden Mountains go to Lake Baikal, so they pick up that mythology too, and then they go to the Americas. Can you see how that could be a logical jump to believe, like I said at the beginning, that those two areas inspired the mythology?
Right.
When literally it starts in that area 26 or 20,000 years ago, whatever, and then it jumps over from the mountains, it jumps over to the lake, so it picks up that stuff too. Then it goes to the Americas. Yeah. So it's not to me a shocker that they have Axis Mundi and sacred waters and all this, because I think it relates to these two places.
Right.
Just to help you understand. Let's go down and see if it also then later, see where it says Scandinavia, but they got to Scandinavia 2,000 years ago. So that's not what we're talking about, just so people know. It's not the same time.
Yeah.
Because there's this thing called facts, They just, they have
yeah, that's right.
They're not like, it's not just pick your arrow.
Right. You actually got to follow the progression from dates.
The progression in time.
Yeah,
you got to read the times and go, okay, I see what's going on. Anyways, trying to help. Then I make the next picture a little bit blow up so you can see it even better, right?
Yeah.
So it was 28. This gets you to, and this doesn't have also the distraction of the other DNAs. This is how we get to jumping to Lake Baikal in the Americas. And if you notice here, it says that this one is only 15,000. Right. So
this is
right. So once again, it's like another jump, right? So in other words, in other words, people win at 20,000 and then they win at 15,000. You see what I'm saying? The same DNA. So the same DNA is moving, but all I'm trying to show is like going like this, But once again, that also means different time. It's 5,000 years different in time. There certainly is a lot of fucking change. Anyways, I'm just trying to, let's go down. Then here's Lake Baikal, right? So this is 17,000 years ago. There was Q1A, F7, whatever. So Q1A. And see Q1, and then it became Q1A.
Okay.
Right there, Lake Baikal, right? So anyways, and then if you look this is a river that goes out of the lake, actually, or comes from the north, goes into the lake. But this is the Yenisei River. Where it says Yenisei, this is where the Ket people, which is the Yensen language, which then becomes Nadain, or is connected to both genetically and linguistically to the people in the Pacific Northwest.
Okay.
The Tlingit is the first branch of the Nadain languages, and they relate to the Yensen languages, and this is the exact spot. So X marks the spot for all those Graham Hancock no evidence lovers.
Right. Yeah. That's right.
So anyways, so we're not guessing. We can see who and what and where and times. Okay, let's go down to the next one. And it shows again, they went to the Americas starting 14,000. This set, which is QM930. Once again, like I said, see, you don't have to guess, Corey. Don't you hate that?
Yeah, no kidding, eh?
It literally is telling you, and here's another thing too, because we're giving the numbers, right? People can go look this up. There is fuck tons of data on this stuff. Because you're not just saying QDNA as a general rule and you're reading at not an abstract, but the actual DNA.
Right.
Or a main branch of it, probably. Anyways, let's keep going. So it's near Lake Baikal. And the yellow lines, by the way, on this picture are Mongolia, or is Mongolia.
Okay.
Let's go down. So this right here is showing, now we're going to the north, of America, whatever. And if you see that it says it's 12,726 years ago, and that's Q1b. But remember, who was over in Lake Baikal? Let's go back.
Yeah.
Remember, it says 17,000, the Yensen. It's Q1A.
Yeah.
It's helping people grasp it. It's different people, right? Even though it's same QDNA, it's anyway. So we'll go back down. So then 12,000, the Q1B is in, right? That's in the north. Let's go to the south. Now in South America, there's also 12,400-year-old Q1b.
Okay.
They were moving down fast. Or they're just different spurts, like I've already been trying to say. So let's keep going, right?
Okay.
So and then this here shows to help you grasp what Q did after it. Because remember, we looked at Q1 real close at 17,000, right? This shows how it left.
Right.
You see this picture? Which shows Q1, and it shows Lake Baikal, and it shows some ice and stuff, and it shows them leaving.
Yeah, and then up in the kind of the bridge across is M930.
See, you're getting it? Yeah, exactly. But you notice another one is coming, but later. So you got another one branching off. That one actually goes over too, but it goes coastal. One goes over land, one goes over coast. So when people say, did they come from the land or the coast? The answer is surveys both.
Right. Yeah.
And a whole bunch of different Q DNA. Because, of course, they brought different ideas, like different clans and different, because people actually have ideas. But anyways, so once again, we're not guessing. So keep going to the next picture. Now it shows, now you see that I told you that one that was coming, it goes over too, right? They both.
Right. Yeah.
So this helps to grasp. It's almost in Alaska. So it just helps to show we don't have to guess what these people were doing. Yeah. If you have all the numbers and you find the DNA from the bodies, I mean, you can like match up. Hey, we know what happened, or have a good close idea. Now the next picture. This shows how they're going. These two are going by land. But once again, is it one, Corey?
It is not.
It's two. So it wasn't, anyways. But they're both Q. This is what I'm trying to get you to understand. They're both Q, not the same. So this goes back to, like I said, about that Graham Hancock stuff, some random culture that he can't define.
Yeah.
It wasn't simple. Everyone, and just because there's different, Q, it's not different, like as in different DNA, but it's different as in different culture, different, probably version of religion even. I mean,
Right.
So I'm just making a comment. So that they're doing different things. And these ones, neither of these do shell mounds.
Okay.
So I just grasping. Right? So keep going to the next one. Now it shows, right, somebody from those goes over and becomes Clovis culture at 14,500, through the ice. You're like, oh, amazing. Yeah, those ingenious hunter-gatherers, right?
Yep.
So then next picture, right? This helps. I know all this helps. Now you see people went through the ice, right? These are after Clovis, by the way. These are not Clovis. I know. Once again, so there's three things that are coming in. Corey's like, oh, hey, you got to limit it to one. No. You need three. We're already starting with too many. Yeah. Well, this is called facts. Yeah. I just hate that. But anyway, so, and you can see this showing where these relate to. And if you notice, the first brighter green, that's the Clovis. These other two relate to this other DNA that came in.
Ah.
So when you see coastal route 16, the other one is coming through internal route is 14. So we know time. So see, a 16 and 14 is not the same time. I mean,
that's right.
Right?
Yeah, that's
and then 14,500 and then possibly 15,500. That's also not the same time.
Yeah.
Anyways, but so even though every one of these, there's four of them, right? All of them are Q, not the same.
Right.
Have I made that point clear? You're like, yes. Well, but I think this is super important.
I think, I think people, like, maybe if they watch this far in, they'll get it. But, like, in general, if you said, well, it's QDNA, they would have kind of just assumed that it was all the same thing.
And that it had to go at the same time. It was all the same culture. And I'm
they went, different Qs. That's not what happened. Different times and different routes. Different.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Like, to say that it was all the same is just inaccurate as hell.
Yeah.
Anyways, so to keep going, next picture is my art, and they kind of also explain that. I'm not going to go into this, but if you notice, even these pictures in the bottom left, where it shows how people came in and dispersed, this is showing different things. And there's people always ask me, well, Damien, are these two different options? I'm like, no, these are two different events.
Yeah, that's right.
And it wasn't, to me, truly, this is too limited because, as we already showed the DNA, holy shit, there's a lot more going on. So once again, even this is too simplified. So when people make it even simpler, like Graham Hancock, one person, like you said, left no DNA, has left no left no DNA, left no artifacts, no cities underwater have ever been found that match what he says. So no evidence.
Yeah.
Or we'll go with Damien that breaks it all down and shows you can't keep saying it's one thing because it wasn't. Right. I don't know. Who should we go for, Corey? No.
I do tend to follow the people who show evidence and show me like actually what happened instead of just asserting things. But that's just me. I don't know.
Yeah. It's a preference some people have, I guess.
That's right. Yeah.
The ones that, I don't know, like to have accuracy or truth or not have bullshit. Anyway, so the next picture.
Okay.
You notice I'm trying to go pretty fast because we got lots of pictures. But like I said, I feel like it doesn't matter the details per se. I mean, you go read them. But I need you to get the big picture because it's harder, I feel, then to be mistaken like the Graham Hancock stuff.
Right.
It's so complicated. How he offers it is delusional.
Yeah.
That's the nice way of putting it.
Yeah.
So going here, and you'd see, I have worked to understand. I started in 2006.
Right.
Studied the origins of religion and realized I had to learn DNA, geology, not just religions all over the world. I had to learn languages and animals and all kinds of things. But that also has helped me in cultures to be able to explain all this. So here's a picture right here showing M1, right, A, which is the Malta culture, which is the ancient North Eurasians.
Right.
Which it says ancient North Eurasians. But ancient North Eurasians, right, were both the R that goes to the Middle East, right, which is and becomes Europeans. And also it was the Q that both stayed there and went over into the Americas.
Right.
And so that's why M1A is all over the place.
Right.
Because that person's DNA has a lot of DNA. Anyways, but so my point is, you see that the darker the color on the map is actually means that it has more. So the blue and stuff, that means very little. So the strongest DNA is really now in the Americas.
Right.
Indigenous people. Anyways, which we already know is QDNA because I already showed you.
Yep.
And we're not done with showing either. So now the next one, now once again, I'm going to go pretty fast, but just see all this stuff going on, this next part of the pictures where it says the Amur.
Right.
It shows that Japan is going back and forth to Korea, Amur region. No, North Japan's in the Amur region. South Japan's in the Korea, and also going to Taiwan back and forth. And of course, they're going to China. And so,
yeah, there's a lot going on there.
Right. It's a lot, right? This goes back to don't say that Northeast Asians weren't doing anything. Look at this.
Right.
What do you mean they weren't doing anything? Holy shit, they had a massive impact. But anyways, mainly later, but also earlier too. So, but at this time, this is the later one. This is C7500. This has to relate to the 9,000 and 8,000 DNA, which I think relates to maybe even the first cDNA that went over to the Americas. Okay. And cDNA is heavily C217 is heavily connected to the Dane languages. Anyways, so this map shows why, in a sense, the languages, right? So it shows that people that had the DNA from this cave,
right?
Which you see they had. Go ahead and read. There's a Devil Gates cave dating. You see that?
Yeah, 7,726 to 7,622 years ago. YDNA C2M217.
Right, which I told you is majority of Native Americans, especially in the Dane.
Right. And the mtDNA D4 and M related to the ancient Northeast Asian gene pool after 13,000 years ago.
Right. So it can't be before. So when people are like going, well, Paleo-Indians were in the Americas like 13,000 to 14,000 years ago. I'm like, not these people.
Right. These are different people.
These are the ones that came. So that's why there's two things. The first picture in the DNA, the Malta boy or whatever, that and that's showing you in ancient North Eurasians, that's showing you the stuff before 13,000.
Right.
From like 25,000 to 13,000, that's that one. And then you go down, and the other one is the after one. So they're both are, I'm trying to help us understand, there's qDNA and cDNA. qDNA, older, cDNA, a little bit younger.
Yeah.
Right?
Makes
trying
sense.
to help. But they both went over. So this is so important to understand. They both went over to the Americas. Their DNA, that's why it shows up.
Right. Makes sense.
Anyway, so to help you understand, we're not going to read any of that stuff, blah, 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 blah.
Okay.
So here's the multiple. Go down to the next picture.
Okay.
And see, it shows that several arrows going in, right? Because once again, was it one people, Corey? Was it one thing?
It was multiple. Yeah.
The reason of different colors is those are different colors because it's different DNA.
Right.
In fact, I want you to read. The number one actually isn't even one DNA.
Right. Yeah.
So
it says
please read it where it says number one, initial peopling of the Siberia. Go ahead and read that.
Yeah. So the initial peopling of the Beringia at around 25,000 years ago, and the founding mtDNA was 4 major Pan-American A2, B2, C1, D1, and 3 minor North American X2A, D2, and D3.
Just pause for 1 second there. So already these arrows, which are already showing different migrations, doing different things, this is also showing that it's not even one. So once again, it is not simple. And were any of those Q?
No.
No, they were not. So I've explained to you something also that came later.
Right. So
I'm trying to show you that it's multiple migrations. This thought that one time they came in and then everything happened, I just feel like it's not accurate.
Right. No, yeah, it seems pretty clear that there was, like you say, multiple migrations over time and different groups. And then, and then whatever happens in North America, that's the commingling of the various DNAs and cultures. And
yes. Right. We're going to eventually talk about more stuff too, but I just wanted, I really want to get this nonsense of this one culture
right
out of your head. It doesn't belong there. It's not true.
Right.
Go ahead and read number 2. What does number 2 say?
It says A2, B2, C1D, C1C, C1D, C4C, D1, D4H3, and X2A in Beringia developed in isolation, then spread out sometime later. Chile's Monte Verde site 18,000 years ago, Galt site in Texas 16,000 years ago, and Page Ladson site in Florida 14,500 years ago.
Right. And then see, it says back migration of C1A, because we know Graham Hancock.
They went back.
And then spreading all the way to Mont Verde, right? The next one, the 3.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the one that goes all the way down, right?
Yeah, all the way down. See, so anyways, just to help understand, we'll keep going. Now, so the ancient North Eurasians, right? We're not going to read all this stuff, but this just shows you, see how they went everywhere?
Yeah.
So Graham Hancock gets confused. If you notice, there's a whole bunch of different circles. It's not like they all start like where they leave, right? Everything that leaves is leaving from a generalized group. It's like saying everyone in Saskatchewan is the circle.
Right.
Well, there's a lot of different families, right?
Yeah, that's right. And some of those are going to leave, and some of them.
Yeah, exactly. And the ones that go different ways, they have different thinking sometimes, right?
Yeah,
even though they came from a similar source.
Yeah.
Right?
For sure.
This, to me, is the best picture to explain why all the world's religions are similar. Right there is why.
Right.
Thank you for playing. It's not a mystery. It's fucking, there's science. Well, I'm not, but so people know, even though I'm an absolute like lover of science stuff and philosophy and facts. If for some reason it wasn't this case, then I would have different thinking.
Right.
Because I have no bias in the game. I want the truth.
Yeah.
So, anyways, we'll keep going.
Okay.
Skip that. There's different thing. There's groups that partially derived from the ancient North Eurasians. Not going to read you every freaking thing because there's a whole bunch of stuff you can read.
Right.
But I just going to read the groups. Eastern hunter-gatherers, Caucasian hunter-gatherers, Scandinavian hunter-gatherers, Iran Neolithic, ancient Bajarian, ancient Native American, West Siberian hunter-gatherers, West steppe herders, which relates to the Yama culture, and that relates to basically, to people understand, 5,000 years ago, what became probably, Germans and England and all that, France. That relates to that Western steppe herders.
Okay.
So then they have ancient North Eurasian DNA. It's about 14,000 years old. Anyways, the DNA. When it came in. So this is late Upper Paleolithic Lake Baikal. They already knew Lake Baikal had always had like 25,000 years of, or 30,000 years of,
Yeah.
QDNA's been there a long time.
Yeah.
So not surprising, anyways, that and then Lake Baikal, Holocene, different time, and the Neolithic. Anyways, which is basically Copper Age. Why did they give it? I told you before. Why did they give it like 3 or 4, freaking names? Just like everyone says Bronze Age. They don't have like 5 names for it.
Right. So how? Yeah, that's right.
Anyways, I know that's just a pet peeve. Like, just what the hell? Anyways, Taquito, and it was the Jamon people, right? The ones that actually become the Anu people, which I told you have a similar religion almost as the people in the Sami.
Mm.
The two, one is in Japan, northern Japan, another one is, near Finland. Anyways, let's go down to the next picture. This once again just shows the DNA. We're not going to keep, but this is so people can look. The next picture after that, this is from Alaska government site. This is just showing the DNA once again. So the people that think that, ancient white people, they're just wrong. But anyway, so here's the stuff, and it shows the migration times, which we also already showed. And then it shows the back migration at 12,000. So once again, people are moving around.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's keep going. And then now it says human migration to Asia to Alaska 14 to 10,000 years ago, likely relates to ancient North Eurasian and described as the rDNA lineage.
Okay.
But remember, when these lineages that relates to it, it's not saying that this DNA for sure is the thing, because QDNA is also with it for ancient North Eurasians.
Right.
So it what I'm saying is, let me try to explain it better, because I read this and I'm like, I don't want people to misunderstand. Okay, the DNA that went over likely relates to ancient North Eurasians, but QDNA, but often it's described as the rDNA lineage. And there is rDNA few lineages that go into the Americas. They don't know what time it went in, but it went to the center to went across land, and then it went to the Great Lakes region, and then it went down to Mexico or whatever. This is why I say to Graham Hancock, right? Because he says R1B, going along the coast and teaching everybody how to do things. Well, that even if this is the DNA, right?
Right.
He thinks, right? They did not go where he said. They went across land. If you see, here's a land bridge, right?
Yep.
This green stuff is in that picture.
Yep.
There was land. I mean, they didn't have to be seafaring. Remember, it's going back to seafaring bullshit. Right. Just saying R1B was not seafaring until like the Vikings.
Right.
Anyways, so if it came in at this time, as Graham Hancock tries to say, okay, they went to a land, and then they went across to the Great Lakes, and then went down land all the way down to Mexico land. So they never did any boating. So anyways, my point is, and also this was the lithic stage. This is not known to be is the people that like to call people primitive. It was not the most advanced of the things. It had amazing stuff still. I'm not putting them down, but it's the lithic stage. This is not the stage of the history of the Americas that a lot of shit was going on. So supposedly, if that was the Graham Hancock's Great White Hope, they didn't do shit.
Yeah.
Okay. They came in and hunted with rocks. They made some cool, structures or whatever, probably, but wood or whatever. But it's not there. But anyway, so I'm just saying, this is not something to feel like this isn't some advanced thing that's pottery and all the shit he says, get the what? No. Then the next picture is the Nadane language, which it says, this is remember, like I said, the state information. It says 6,000 to 11,000. Once again, people always go like, well, why does it say that? Well, one reason we can already show you is it could have been multiple waves. They're simplifying it for you.
Yeah,
people don't even like reading the easy DNA, explanation pictures that I give. Do you think they're really going to go in depth and all that? No, they just.
Yeah, they imagine it as like just one group of people that just happened to move across, and then that was supposed to be good enough. Yeah. When a language travels over the course of 5,000 years.
See, Corey, you get what I'm saying, right? I mean, I hate to always feel like I'm picking on details, but literally they matter.
Yeah, for sure. This took time. It took time, and it was multiple people that went at different times.
And it's not like this is unknown. Going back to this is the state side.
That's right.
Alaska.com, whatever. I can't remember, but the link. But anyways, my point is, and there's a link there so you can click on it if you want to. But my point is, I'm saying is this is known, and this picture these pictures show only one time coming in? No, they literally don't. It's not all the same time, which I've already tried to help explain. So different ideas kept coming in. Anyways, go ahead and read that one.
The one.
By the way, I do think, but just real quick, I do think that these ones, this time, absolutely brought in the mounds.
Okay, like this.
Yes. Remember, I said the other one did not.
Yeah.
The lithic stage, the Graham Hancock ones that supposedly were so knowledgeable they didn't do anything. Those ones. Yeah, those ones that could have been at the possible connected to R1. So it's a Great White Hope. And what they do, they didn't make any mounds at all.
Right. That came from a different group.
Well, yeah, the different group, when they came in, they brought mounds. Oh, how does that fit with his thing, though? Oh, it doesn't. Oh, and there's no mysterious what culture this is. It's an Asian culture. That's what it is. Okay. And then it became Native American. Yeah. It is absolutely not a white people. So, yeah, because those racists were saying that Graham Hancock helps promote the great white race, that the truth in that, that science is hiding that, because he's like, Graham Hancock shows it's white people that did it. No, they didn't. He's lying, or he's in error beyond belief. Yeah. How about that? Yeah. Okay, let's keep going. So who built it in? So let's go another thing too. So human migration. Go ahead and read that.
Okay, yeah. So human migration from Asia into Alaska, North America, 11,000 to 6,000 years ago, likely relates to the Na-Dene languages described as CM217, C2, C3, CM130 DNA lineage from the archaic
period. I know that's confusing, right? Because C130 is like the older one,
right?
And then they used to call it C3 because they thought everything that went in the Americas for some reason was not the same DNA that came from Asia.
Okay.
Or maybe to classify that now it's in America, or whatever, the Americas. But anyways, then they stopped doing that and just went to CM217 because they realized, well, actually it's better to say the whole group.
Right.
It's an arbitrary, like gender, an arbitrary thing that we put on stuff.
Yeah, to help us understand things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is called the Arcane period. Oh, so different periods of time, because those last people are the Lithic period. They're not the same people.
Right.
They don't do the same things.
Yeah.
I know Graham Hancock, that's really hard. The times and cultures, you have to pay attention, though.
Right.
Not the same. Okay. So, and what DNA did this arcane period and relate to the mound builder? Can you read it? What is it?
So the CM217, C2, C3, CM130 DNA lineage is also in the mound builders, some of which are pyramid-like.
Well, so the people that actually built the mounds that Graham wants to say the white people did, who built them?
It's these the Asian people. CM217, right?
Right. So when Damien's guessing and he's using these facts and they are correlating and they're running together, let's not listen to that.
Yeah.
Let's choose Graham Hancock's. Well, there really isn't any information or evidence to sort of prove what I'm saying, but I'm saying it. No. People just seriously, if you respected facts, truth, you would just reject that outright.
Yeah, that's right.
But anyways, go ahead and keep reading. And what else is it?
Sure. So, so lineage was also in the mound builders, some of which are pyramid-like, such as the Adena, 800 BCE to 100 CE, Hopewell, 200 BCE to 500 CE, and the Maya civilization with pyramids.
Wait a minute. You mean that all the cultures that Graham Hancock wants to say were invented by the first culture? That's his theory, right?
Yeah.
Who didn't do anything. But Damien says, no, it's the second one that has the DNA who actually built the shit and lived there.
Yeah.
And was buried there. Those people, I know it's a shocker, Corey. I'm going to go on a limb. I believe that those people probably built that.
So you're saying that the people who moved there and lived there built the things that were there?
And were buried. No, you got to put buried too. Buried in the things, right? So the temples, everything built for them, buried with them, but it's white people.
Right.
Just listen to Graham Hancock and his non-facts.
Nonsense.
Right, you can get how when I know this stuff, it's really fucking irritating. It's
for
fucking
sure.
Like, well, it's not racist. I'm like, yeah, it sure fucking sounds like that.
It sounds like it. Yeah, exactly.
Especially it's wrong. It's like, well, maybe, you need to listen to Graham Hancock. No, you need to read my shit and learn. Fuck.
Yeah.
Anyway,
because he's just wrong.
Yeah, he's completely wrong. Anyway, so mound builders. Go ahead and just read that little thing so people know what that is.
Okay, so a number of pre-Columbian cultures are collectively termed mound builders. The term does not refer to a specific people or archaeological culture, but refers to the characteristic mound earthworks erected for an extended period of more than 5,000 years. The mound builder cultures span the period of roughly 3,500 BCE, the construction of Watts and Brake, to the 16th century. Yep.
Before the pyramids, Graham Hancock. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. To the 16th century CE, including the Archaic period, Woodland period, Calusa culture, Adena and Hopewell cultures, and the Mississippian period. Mm-hmm. Geographically, the cultures were present.
Yeah, I remember the Mississippian also became the Florida people, the Seminoles. But the Mississippi culture was related and have the DNA of C217. Yeah, 217. Yeah, you're getting that. You do. This is really good. You're getting what I'm saying, right? It's not seeming so crazy now when I'm like you're not going, Damien, I don't see how you're coming to this conclusion.
Right.
I mean, because the fact of the DNA moving at a certain time from a certain area with certain language and certain beliefs, and then ending up, they're the ones, the DNA is in the mound builders, and you're saying that they probably helped build the mounds. That just seems crazy.
Yeah, that definitely is not related to, All this stuff that piles and piles of evidence that seem to be accumulating here, that's not a mound.
Okay. Anyways, so go ahead and keep reading.
Sure. Geographically, the cultures were present in the region of the Great Lakes, the Ohio River Valley, and the Mississippi River Valley, and its tributary waters. The first mound building was an early marker of political and social complexity among the cultures in the eastern United States. Watson Brake in Louisiana constructed around about 3500 BCE during the
5,500 years ago.
Right. Or during the Middle Archaic period, is currently the oldest known and dated mound complex in North America.
Well, that's not exactly correct, because I think Louisiana State, like the actual college, I think 2 mounds in the college are actually like 11,000 or 10,000.
Oh, wow. Like jeez. Okay.
Something like that. Recently, I heard that. I didn't go look into it because I'm doing some other stuff. It's just, I just go, sounds fine.
Right. Yeah. They dated it? Okay. That works.
I just go, okay. Still think it was QDNA that brought it in. The ideas to begin with of the what I mean by that, the ideas they brought in primordial water beliefs, maybe even earth diver or some version of that, or mounds or axis mundi or something, because of or mounds or mountains, which is why a lot of cultures are built near mountains or build mounds and pyramids and shell mounds and whatever.
Right.
Going back to, like I said, Lake Baikal, and then also the Golden Mountains. And so because of those two features, which we already know the DNA comes from, both C and Q come from there. So the fact that both of them have stuff to relate to that, it's not a big guess.
Right.
It's not a huge leap in logic to me. It's like they both came from there and they both have similar beliefs. Yeah, I get it.
For sure. So I guess it's one of 11 mound complexes in this period found in the lower Mississippi Valley. These cultures generally had developed hierarchical societies that had an elite. These commanded hundreds or even thousands of workers to dig up tons of earth with the hand tools available, move the soil long distances, and finally, workers to create the shape with layers of soil as directed by the builders.
Pause for 1 second. Yeah. So like always, we know it's workers who build things.
That's right.
Not the kings.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. From about 800 CE, the mound building cultures were dominated by the Mississippian culture, a large archaeological horizon, whose youngest descendants, the Plaquemine culture and the Fort Ancient culture, were still active at the time of European contact.
The Fort Ancient culture is a transfer because it does not have C2117.
Oh, okay.
So once again, Graham Hancock, we can see that when it actually also transfers.
Right.
And this is one of those influenced yet not the same DNA.
Right.
So I know, once again, we can tell.
Wow. Yeah.
That's like I said, that's why I always find it just like hilarious when the Graham Hancock, what do you call them, like the cockers or
Now all I can think of is the Cocker Spaniels.
Anyways, I'm not trying to I feel bad for them. You've been fucking hoodwinked by a con man or a person who's fanatical about his beliefs and they're not right. Whatever you want to be the nicest. Yeah. Still, this person is not worth following and this is deluding you and you're defending it. It's just wow.
Yeah.
Because that what I mean is they always go, the archaeologists won't give him a time. No one should, dude.
Right.
That's how many. I wouldn't give him a time of day. I told you he can come on here, not because I want to listen to his nonsense, but I'd like to expose his nonsense.
Yeah.
Different issue, yeah. Here's a chance of him converting me with his no evidence. 0.
Yeah, that's right.
Fucking 0. And I'm sure as a skeptic, there's no difference in that. 0, right?
Yeah, you got to have at least some evidence to back up what you're saying. I'm not. As soon as you say you have no evidence, I can't accept what you're saying.
Well, you have to certainly hold it provincial. Like, I'll think about it when you show me something that proves it.
Sure. Yeah.
Anyways,
yeah.
But that's why I always find it irritating that he always has this harsh, and all of his followers calling archaeologists snakes in the grass and all kinds of absolute garbage.
Yeah.
Instead of, I don't know, producing evidence.
No, that's right.
Yeah, my arguments, I don't have to call archaeologists any names. I can just show the evidence. If they don't agree with me, you know what I do? Here's a crazy thought. I show them more evidence.
That's right. Yeah.
You know what convinces archaeologists often that I probably am correct? I showed them evidence.
Yeah. It's great.
I know it's crazy but see, to me as a rationalist, like that makes total fucking sense.
Yep.
And as a skeptic, I'm sure it makes total fucking sense too. Like, of course, how else are you supposed to know things?
Yeah, I just don't know how you fucking make choices like that. How do you make beliefs like without anything?
Let's go to the next picture real quick. This is cDNA. Like, remember the Nadane and the ones that go over. So they go to the Americas, but here shows where they start. And they're a big influence, as I already said, on the east side of Lake Baikal. Right. And then the qDNA is on the west side of Lake Baikal. But since they both basically surround the lake and they relate to it, to think that they got some of their ideas that relate to it is not a shocker.
No, that's right. Yeah.
And in fact, the archaeologists know that someone came from Alaska all the way to there and was buried there in a sacred way as a shaman.
Right.
6,000. My point is, there's shamans before that. My point is, the fact just shows that lake is a big deal. Someone came from Alaska and then was buried in a sacred spot.
Wow.
Mecca, or anyway, I'm not saying it's that, but I'm just saying it's sacred. But anyway, I don't believe in the word sacred. So
right, but they thought of it as sacred.
Right. I'm just making a comment because sometimes how I talk, I know I'm trying to get my ideas out really quick, and I want to move on because I know there's shitloads of stuff I have to get to, and I don't have that much time, and I want to make just one video on this.
Right.
So, like I was saying, I'm trying to explain all this, as you see, because I really want people to understand, because I also feel like it's Teflon against lies. Once you understand this, when people start making up all kinds of other shit, you're like, that's fucking not true.
Right. Yeah. It's a lot easier to see through like a Graham Hancock's kind of nonsense. Yeah.
Right.
Sure.
You're armed with evidence. Anyway, so then you go down to the Dane Jensen language map, right?
Yes.
Oh, let's just right above that. Let's go to the males carrying M130.
Yeah, so males carrying M130 are believed to have migrated to the Americas some 6,000 to 8,000 years ago and was carried by Na-Dene-speaking peoples into the northwest Pacific coast of North America.
Right. And then that's the DNA, and then the below picture is explaining the language, showing what the DNA did.
Right. So it goes across and
and also it probably wasn't just one. Once again, wasn't just like I showed you the Q. We're not going to break down C, but just showing you that it doesn't. Just because one comes in, it doesn't mean that they're all the same. Anyways,
right? Yeah, that's I think. I mean, maybe it's just a layman version of it, but that's what like the M130 and the M217 means, right?
Right. Try, and you see, I am trying to help you understand.
Yeah.
In other words, too, they understand the M130 is the parent, and then one of the siblings is C217. So they both went in, but they are different.
They're different. Yeah. Yeah. In the same way that like my cousin isn't me. Right.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
Well, I really appreciate it, Corey, because I know to me, I mean, all this is super. I've been looking at it for years, but I feel happy that it seems like I'm transmitting it enough that you're totally getting it.
I'm getting it. I think I'm getting it, And hopefully that means that other people who watch these are also getting.
Yes, you're getting what I'm saying is, I know this all sounds confusing, especially if you don't understand the DNA and stuff, and people just start listing DNA as here and here and here and here.
Right.
It can just sound mindless as hell and think, well, we don't have any ideas. No, we do. It's just very complicated, and you gotta, read a lot. And you have to understand what they're talking about, and you have to put it in context of cultures and movements. And anyways.
Yeah.
So this breaks it down. See the Dane Jensen language. These are the suspected thing that Jensen breaks off. And Jensen, remember I told you, is on the west. That's where that purple.
Yep.
That's where QDNA is. So
yep.
See, and we know that Jensen also has cDNA, right? Not Jensen. I mean the Dane. Right. The Dane has the cDNA, and it also has Q.
Right.
Right. Yep. So. Once again, it's not one thing, right? So it's literally different DNAs, even though they're all speaking the same language. It's not the same DNA. I know it's crazy, but anyway. So let's go down to the picture again. So this picture is showing the Devil Gates people. This is the cDNA, and you can see what it did, right?
Oh yeah, yep.
Yeah, it's got a lot of impact. It even went to Europe and everywhere. But anyways, we're focusing on the older stuff. The darker stuff means it has more of the DNA.
Okay.
You see that there's actually darker in like Mexico and in South America than there is in North America. I mean, I know Mexico is in North America, but I meant the larger America portion and Canada portion of North America.
Yeah.
Trying to be more accurate. Some people think that Mexico is in South America, and that's not accurate.
Right.
Because there's this thing called facts. Anyways, go to the next picture, right? So, or next part of the picture where it says A, because that with the arrows and the Devil Gates, that's the top part. And then A, the bottom part. This shows all the different cultures that relate to these regions. So, anyways, see where it says Tlingit?
Yes.
Oh my goodness, the Tlingit are over there in Siberia.
Yeah, eh?
Yeah. Anyways, let's go down.
Okay.
We're not going to read any of that. And this next picture says the DNA, and see, this shows the hot spots. The darkest is where it comes from. Where does it come from, Corey? Which we already showed you, anyways. But
yeah, that looks like Lake Baikal.
See, now right? Kind of
it looks like
it's centered around that, like Damien said, or something,
Yeah.
Yeah, and you notice it also went down to Florida and to South America.
Yeah, there's quite a bit there.
Yeah. So what happened is it actually spread further than the Dane languages.
Right.
Right. But it did spread with the mountain people, which started at the Great Lakes and went down to Florida. And you see the DNA's there. Oh, wow. That's not amazing to me.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so let's go down to not going to read any of that, which, like I said, all that is worth reading, but we're not going to. The next one just shows how, go ahead and read it. Prevalence of the C.
Prevalence of YSNP haplogroup, CM217 or C3, around the Pacific Ocean. Light blue is previous studies. Dark blue is present study. Yellow is relative frequency of CM217 C3 carriers.
Right. And so did you notice that the darkest color means stronger? There's a lot in South America, is there not?
There is. Yep, for sure.
So a lot of people for a long time, as that other picture shows, said there was none.
Right.
The picture just above it, remember?
Yep.
Go back up. The pictures above it, the yellow, these are the heat maps. This just shows lots. And so it
doesn't show as much.
Tiny bit, right?
Yeah. It doesn't show as much.
Right. But the truth is, there's a lot more down there.
It's pretty far down. Yeah. No kidding.
Anyways, but it's probably like more dispersed. So you understand. That doesn't mean that just because you see that it just shows there is DNA, even though it's not highly registered. In other words, like large groupings. It's probably more dispersed, even though you get my point.
Yep.
Like, because that one is down in South America that they're showing is a big amount, 2% or 10%, whatever.
Right.
That amount is one group. It's one like Wiro or something. Can't remember the name, but culture. Anyways, but it actually that's not 100% accurate because there's a lighter amount all over the place.
Right.
And that relates to because all over the place is mounds. Yeah, and it's in also South America, right, and Central America, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. So let's go down though. So just clarifying, there's a bunch of people could read, blah 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 blah. Now we're gonna see another map. This shows the waves, and if you notice, there's a whole bunch of arrows because it wasn't just one people, Graham Hancock.
Right. Yeah, there's like multiple arrows there, and then they split off into multiple arrows going differently.
Right, Corey? I mean, I don't know why this is like even like this should be trivial. This is not.
Yeah.
It's an absolute like fact, which we already showed in multiple pictures. Just read what that info says.
So it says, so the blue one blue, a wave of migration made up of people genetically related to the famous Clovis culture of North America enters the continent sometime after 17,500 BP. A wave of migrants begin to replace the first wave at around 9,000 BP. A lineage.
Hold on a second. Replaced.
Replace.
Right, replaced. In other words, the other people, they're not there no more. Now new people came, right?
Which I guess makes sense because they entered at like 17,500 and the next group is at 9,000.
Yeah. So Graham Hancock, that DNA you said didn't do shit. It's the other people, the ones I already showed you and I already explained the DNA and I already explained the language and showed the connection and that we know what it is, right? It absolutely has to do with cDNA.
Right.
There also is Shell Mounds with Q, but the main people who probably brought it in was probably Shell Mounds maybe could have related to Q, but for sure the Earth Mounds and all that I think relate to C.
Right. Makes sense.
But yeah. So but I'm just saying. But you see how these also related cultures, how they are. So, but it's not one, and they're not white, and yeah. So
yeah, that's right.
It's not pick your own fantasy game, okay? That's not
certain
how
things happen. Yeah, certain things happen. We know that they happen. We can look at where they happen.
Yeah. And so when you're like, oh well, but how do you explain all the pyramids and everything being similar? And I'm like, culture moving.
Yeah.
And then that's not all. And then those indigenous people with mythology and beliefs that relate to mounds decide to, on their own, engineer different kinds of mounds. So they did it themselves for a religious reason that is culturally shared between lots of groups.
Right.
Which I'm trying to show you. It's not so it's not like the people taught them all how to build mounds.
Right.
It's that they all had a similar belief system, and so they all wanted to build a church or whatever. You get my you get my point. That's why. And then they all built churches similar because they all wanted to be a church, which they think their culture, what it means.
Right, because along with the culture and the religious beliefs, there would have been this idea of what it looked like to have this thing.
Absolutely, it's not right because it's complex, not simple or primitive.
That's why they're not identical.
Yeah,
but they're similar.
Right. Yeah, I know. But isn't this helping you understand all the pyramids and all the stuff?
It helps a lot. Yeah,
right?
No, I think it helps a lot.
And also to know like the DNA, like why when people say it's wrong, to me all you need is DNA. He's wrong. DNA done. He's wrong.
Yeah, it's the DNA. It's hard to wrap your head around at first, but once you start getting more information about it and it becomes explained a few times, then it starts to really sink in, I think.
Right, and then now it's sinking in for you, right? Like so. Also, you see too. I'm not like guessing, randomly shooting. Well, this one time, because this is what they do, right? Well, at 8,000, they came in, and pyramids are 8,000. Let's just say that those two things related, right? that doesn't mean that they relate. But when I say, yeah, well, that DNA that came in that time is found in these burials of the first mounds.
Right.
And then where they come from has the only place in the north, right, which, like the Tlingit, the only place up there that has stratified culture with hunter-gatherers.
Right.
And then all the mound people have stratified culture that becomes chieftains.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like they were already chieftains.
Yeah.
It's an idea, a cultural idea that spread. And guess what? Those people like to build mounds.
Yeah.
As we just talked about. So once again, that's why, because you put all these different things together, and because I've been trying to figure it out also is the issue, right?
Right.
I've been, since 2006, I wanted to know. I heard atheists, say they knew that God was a liar, religion was a lie, but I wanted to understand. Okay.
Right.
And they said, well, no one can know. And I said, that doesn't sound like a science answer.
Yeah, that's right. Because it's not. No one can know? What do you mean?
Like, Damien, you're not the one that's going to figure out religion. And I'm like, how do you know that?
Yeah.
You have all of a sudden pre-knowledge? Are you saying it's impossible to figure out what a cultural idea came into being?
Right. Yeah.
Because I'm not thinking you're understanding what you can understand.
I think you're mistaking hard with impossible.
Yeah. Right.
It is hard, but it's not impossible.
10 years, obviously.
Yeah.
For 15 years. 2006. How long has it been, Corey?
That's 18 years.
Okay, so 18 years. So it's taken me 18 years to be able to give such a flowing understanding of the most complex, like why all mounds are created and relate to this stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm really trying. So let's keep going down. So then here's people that came in at 5,000 years ago.
Right.
And they changed things too. And look at, even they split, Corey, because they don't just go one way. One person doesn't just travel around and give everyone ideas.
Well,
that's not what the evidence shows.
That's right. And I really, really think that people who think of it that in those terms, they don't get how long this takes.
Yeah. Like thousands of years.
Yeah. Like
hundreds of years, whatever. It's like long.
So this group of people stayed together all the time, 100% of for thousands of years. I doubt it. Somebody walked away.
Right, but now you can say, well, that person was C 27.
That's right.
Graham Hancock. Well, some person did something, and I think they did this, and yet they left nothing.
Yeah.
You can say, oh yeah, this person with that DNA did that thing from that culture, and yeah. Anyways,
that's right.
So once again, this, by the way, remember, so now we're already at big groups. 3 big entries into the United States, right. The America, the continent of the Americas, whatever.
Yeah.
So, but I'm saying this is the state thing too. So this is not like the state doesn't know this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. The government already knows this.
That's right. Yeah. This isn't some random archaeologist that nobody knows about.
Right, or random Damien that just some dude that thinks, what did that chick say? I have no facts.
Oh yeah.
What nonsense is that again? Oh my God! I'm like, or like someone said to me before, your art has no facts in it, no science, and I'm like, then you didn't read. And are you like nuts? I
looked at the pictures,
and I put it on into art.
Yeah, that's right.
What do you understand? So, no one's paying for me for this. It's just I have an anarchist, and an atheist heart to help change the world.
Right. And
I realize that people need to understand this stuff, because then magic sounds like just magic.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like. The more we actually understand, the less we have to make shit up.
Right. And also the more that when someone makes stuff up, it sounds like they're just making stuff up.
Yeah. Yep, for sure.
Right. So anyways, let's go down to the next one.
Okay.
And yet another bunch of people came in.
Oh yeah, no, that's.
Oh, and they went 2 different ways. What the?
Huh. And then it looks like some of them went back as well.
Some did go back, yeah, back and forth. In fact, even now they have family on both sides, and the fucking thing called states and governments don't actually let these people have free flow with each other when they're family.
Yeah.
Because states are wonderful, Corey, and they have borders that
yeah,
have
they love
to be
that
maintained, even if there's cultural ties that were already there on the land you fucking stole.
But we drew a border there, so
yeah, borders. So. I'm not impressed.
So clearly, this one's better than that one.
Yeah, I'm not impressed. Borders. Yeah. When I hear that it's an excuse for not helping suffering people because of a border,
yeah, for sure. Yeah,
I just go, yeah. See, then I'm not a fan of borders because that just sounds like absolute horseshit.
Yeah.
Anyways, so let's go back to the thing. So the next thing says periods of North American prehistory, right? You see that? So remember
periods in North
the lithic stage. Remember we talked about Archean stage.
Yep.
So the lithic stage, which could have had supposedly or possibly Graham Hancock's rDNA, right?
Right.
It came in at that time.
Before 8,500 BCE.
Correct. See, now you get it. And those people were not this advanced fucking cultures we talked about. Right. In fact, they were basically stone tool workers. That's
right.
Pretty much, yeah, that's it. Like I said, they may have had some mythological beliefs, but they obviously were not, big into doing stuff. So, but my point is, so then they're nothing to do with Graham Hancock thinking they invented the mounds. They are nothing to do with the mounds. Hey, isn't that great? None of their DNA of R was found in the mounds.
Yeah.
I hope that helps.
Right? I think that should be all that needs to be said, right? That's the end of that. That's the only thing. Right. Problem solved. Graham Hancock has no more career.
Never again try to say that these people are the ones. Okay, let's go down to where it says the Archaean period. Yeah. To me, like I told you, these are the ones. 10,000 to me around there. Could have been earlier, 12,000 that I think relates to this, which I know would be the end of the lithic stage. But once again, the lithic people were not the ones that are doing it. Ours and none of the fucking mounds. So to say they're part of the mound, they're not. They aren't the DNA.
Right. Yeah.
Anyways, so to me, it's the Archaean period. They call that because that's when the things really started. That's when culture. In a sense, like when you think of more advanced cultures, like the one before was not considered as advanced. So
right.
The Graham Hancock, I told you, the rDNA, Great White Hope, to teach everything, literally was the non-advanced culture. So just saying. So the Archaean period is the thing, and then the next one after that, then it's the formative stage. And then the woodland, anyways, all these stages have to do with after the culture stuff starts. So after 10,000 to me really is when the party starts.
Right.
You start to have things like, and especially after 8,000, which like I said would relate to probably the cDNA coming in, which does have to be in all the mounds. All of a sudden, after that time of 8,000, it's like an explosion of stuff.
Right.
Anyways,
so that's the culture. They brought a bunch of stuff.
Yes,
in and did a bunch of stuff. Yeah,
absolutely. So let's go down again to the next picture, and this just again is the same as the one above. It just shows arrows where I think it could have came. I think that the idea to me of the water DNA stuff could have been from the lake, and also could have came from the coast to. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's probably the lake. But I'm just showing it. It's possible that the Shell Mounds, because they're on the area, they could have gone to the like backwards in a sense. The arrow is showing to Lake Baikal or the mountain. But I do think the mountain might have sent the ideas out older, and then because these are red ones, remember, are 6,000.
Right.
500. So it's younger, but it could have in other words, originally the ideas come from the mountain and the lake, and then the people are at the coast, and then those people go back to the mountain and lake. See what I'm saying? So, because once again, it's not just one thing.
Right.
But let's go to the next picture, Japan. And it shows, right, we've already shown this before and talked about it. We're not going to go big into it, but it just shows that the ways that the different pottery goes, and then the ways the DNA shows up with the pottery.
Right.
And John pottery does have an association with cDNA, which is different than, of course, the N DNA or the O. And, of course, the pottery then also kind of looks different.
Right.
Once again, because, cultures are different.
Yeah.
Even when they migrate and start from an original source,
they change they change.
Right, which is another important thing, going back to the same thing. So acting as if one thing did everything, it's like, no.
Yeah.
But anyways, and also pottery, we don't have to guess like Graham Hancock goes, this is his advanced culture invented pottery. Well, actually, hunter-gatherers did that in China.
Right.
Thank you for playing.
Yeah.
And we know this, and we know where it went, and we know what DNA went with it. It's like none of this is a guess. It's not pick your freaking adventure. And see right here where the one is, right? And then it goes over to Lake Baikal.
Yep.
That DNA is the one that goes to Western Siberia in the Yinsen area, and then becomes Fort Mounds and becomes the first Kurgans over there in Western Siberia.
Right.
And Kurgans to me relate also to mounds and pyramids, and all in a sense relates.
Right.
So, and then the next one picture, it shows the Japanese shell mounds, and they also had shell rings, which are also in the Americas. And so it's just showing that these ideas are in Japan, so they're in Asia.
Yeah. So the idea here is like not. So does Graham Hancock think that his version or his ancient white race or whatever, his ancient advanced civilization taught these guys this stuff too?
Well, I don't 100% claim to know because I don't read his books, but I have the impression that he thinks all pyramids all over the world are similar. For his reason is because this one culture, Seafaring, went around, I guess, and taught everybody or something. I mean,
so that would include Shell Mounds in Japan.
I guess, but I'm trying to show that there's actually Japanese DNA.
Right.
And the Anu people and the Shell Mounds, right? And even pottery, right? The first pottery, or maybe it's the Videla pottery, I think it's called. I can't remember if it's 6,000 or 8,000 or something. And it's in Brazil, I think, which would be QDNA brought it down probably. But I don't know. It could also relate to maybe cDNA breaking it down.
Okay.
But anyways, I was like, well, maybe we should. I don't remember because I don't always. I mean, I know so much stuff. Sometimes I did. But I want to be accurate, so that's why sometimes I don't remember exactly. But anyways, but that pottery they used to say looked like the stuff in Japan. I mean, it literally had a lot of similarities. And that's also why I'm showing you that they have shell mounds matters, because these are all doing the same thing. And the shell mounds, guess who gets buried in there? Everybody? The workers? The workers? No.
It's the elite, right? Yeah.
The elite. Right. That's often the case. In fact, even in the Americas, I think the oldest one is buried with the female elite. In South and Central America, I think it's like 7,000 something. But it's my point though is going back to the same thing. Why I also care about this is not like the Graham Hancock or even that I care about pyramids per se, because I don't.
Right.
It's because I wanted to understand, because there's religious beliefs too.
Right? Yeah.
And that's more important to me, because then you see the connection. Oh, okay. because these people in Siberia and sort of Egypt have these primordial things. Egypt has the belief that a pyramid of dirt comes out of the water.
Right.
Well, that's a similar thing of saying that dirt on the turtle's back. Also,
Right.
turtle, anything round, right? So you have to think animistically. Like the whole world is showing you like how it is in a sense. So
Right.
you see a mollusk shell, you could see it. The roundness is like the earth or whatever.
Yeah.
And then like a snail shell, because they would use sometimes snail shells even to make mounds or part of shell mounds. They would use snails. And the reason is, once again, not because they always go, oh, they must really like snails. No, that is not the reason. If they just like snails and it was just garbage, they would just throw it, right? No, they wanted those specific shells.
Right. They're going for a shape and type of
They're
thing.
going for a shape, and that shape has a religious meaning.
Yeah.
But also, remember, a lot of snail shells have a spiral, right? Like the Fibonacci code, or people tell me,
Yeah.
But I'm not, or
that proves God, right?
Well, yeah, no. But no, all I was saying is to them, like it's like an axis mundi, right? There's a center, and there's all this other stuff that sort of like relates to it in a sense.
Yeah.
Or it could be that they see it as reincarnation, or whatever,
Yeah. Yeah.
Because a lot of stuff, because like mounds have to do with like death and graves, and I also think sometimes shells also can relate to like the sky, because if like there's this one grave in France where these women have antlers put above their head, and then all around them are shells, but they're like not lumped up; they're like put like spaced, so it looks like a night sky almost or something. And they chose a lot of like stars and things, they chose different kinds to be even more urchins or whatever. And there's actually several in Europe urchin graves, like around the people. Or anyways, and I think it all relates to, because the urchin's also round and the mounds, and I'm just saying. So it's I feel like our turtles or whatever. It's not, because there's several like funerary things of snails. But anyways, even in Mayan stuff. So I just think that, and Mayans had, of course, earth diver beliefs sort of, or world tree, or axis mundi, which is all this is like the same stuff. Right. Anyways, let's keep going down. So then this shows, the next picture shows the QDNA moving, which we've already showed, and shows heat maps of that, where it went. If you notice, it went down to Brazil, sort of.
Right.
And almost exactly where it went, there's Shell Mounds shows up right after it, same timeline. We're going to skip all that writing. The next picture, because I'm going to try to, get some more in faster. The next picture basically is showing how shamanism moved to me by looking at both the DNA and the artifacts, and that's how you, to me, trace things. You have to put everything together, and then it tells a story.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyways, and so I'm not going to go into all this, but the bottom part of the picture shows the rDNA once again.
Right.
R1b goes to and makes maybe Göbekli Tepe. So if he wants to say that R1b is related to maybe 50% of the 50% of the DNA of the builders of Göbekli Tepe, either the Tualatin, whatever it's called, I don't know, that's not the right word, but Trinitarian or culture, whatever it's the one, and it's like it definitely, like Neville Corey is it. I know you maybe don't know, but it's another place like Göbekli Tepe, which I know people may not know exactly what that is, but they're like these stone, temples in them, both those places. And the DNA is of the North culture is definitely connected to one Neville Corey. There isn't a DNA of Göbekli Tepe yet, so it's hard to say exactly who's there. But then the ones in Israel, the culture that at the same time, they have 50% also of R1b. So they have 50% in Israel, and the people in Turkey, which are right next to, and similar builders to the Göbekli Tepe, they have also R1b 50%. So both these cultures. So either way, the people who built Göbekli Tepe, because there's the only people in the area, they had 50% R1B. So like I said, if he would like limit it to statements that have to relate to facts, that would be more accurate.
Yeah.
His other things still would be wrong, but at least if you're going to point to things and say, well, these people did this, it would be nice if the DNA matched that statement. Just like the ones who make the Sinclair idol or singular idol or whatever, which is a totem pole, which is similar to the kind of totem pole stuff at Göbekli Tepe to me. They have similar related things. But if you noticed, if you said R1B did that, would that be correct? I don't think so, because it looks like R1A went over there.
Right.
R1A literally is over there at 11,500 years ago, and the idol is 11,500 years.
Yeah, it seems a little far from where R1B went.
Right. You get my point. So, but I know if Grant, that's why I also thought it was funny. I was hoping he has more claims that involve DNA.
Right.
I'm like, because those are fighting words right there. But anyways, I'm still trying to show you that everybody didn't do everything. Even R split up and different clans did different things.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And probably had a little bit different version of religion.
Yep.
So go ahead and read the reading under that.
So
here are my thoughts.
Yeah, here are my thoughts / speculations on where I believe is the possible origin of shamanism, which may have been begun sometime around 35,000 to 30,000 years ago, seen in the emergence of the Graffitian culture. Just to outline this thinking on what thousands of years later led to evolved Asian shamanism in general, and thus Wu shamanism as well. In both Europe-related shamanism possible burials and in Gravettian mitochondrial DNA is a seeming connection to haplogroup U, and the first believed shaman proposed burial belonged to Eastern Gravettians / Pavlovian culture at Dolní Věstonice in southern Moravia in the Czech Republic, which is the oldest permanent human settlement that has ever been found. It is at Dolní Věstonice where approximately 27,000 to 25,000 years ago, a seeming female shaman was buried, and also there was an ivory totem portrait figure seemingly of her. And my thoughts on how cultural / ritual aspects were influenced in the area of Göbekli Tepe. I think it relates to a few different cultures starting in the area before the Neolithic. Two different groups of Siberians, first from the northwest Siberia with U6 haplogroup 40,000 to 30,000 or so. Then our haplogroup, mainly haplogroup R1b, but also some possible R1a, both related to the ancient North Eurasians. This second group added its R1b DNA of around 50% to the two cultures, Natufian and Trialethian. To me, it's likely both of these cultures helped create Göbekli Tepe. Then I think the female art or graffiti seen at Göbekli Tepe, to me, possibly relates to the Epigravettians. It made it into Turkey and have similar art in North Italy. I speculate that possibly the totem pole figurines seen first at Kostenki next went to Malta in Siberia, as seen in their figurines that also seem totem pole-like. And then with the migration of R1a, it may have inspired the Shingir idol in Russia, and the migrations of R1b may have inspired Göbekli Tepe.
Right on. And so I think that explains what I was saying.
Right.
Unlike Graham Hancock, which doesn't list stuff in that way.
Yeah. No, his favorite go-to is just who knows? It could be.
Just asking questions.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, I'm just giving answers. How's that?
Yeah, that's right.
What's the mystery of it? It takes time to learn it. That's the mystery.
Yeah.
Not that it can't be somewhat understood. even if not fully, known. But it's the next picture.
Okay.
This picture is showing how things are relating and how it relates to DNA and movements and language. And it's just showing the distance is 4,950 miles, but it happened.
Right. Yeah, it takes time.
And also showing like the red shows that the two shamanisms of those two red areas are the same, or not
right.
similar, related, whatever.
Okay.
And then actually, I think all of the stuff in between also related.
Right. Which makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. So let's go down.
Okay.
And next picture to show why I say that. Because this has to do with shamanism, but also has to do with languages, and also has to do with migrations. Yeah. And that's kind of what I'm trying to sum up right here. And go ahead and read the names.
So we've got the Uralic, Trans-Eurasian, Chukotko, Kamchakan, and the Escalute.
Right. And if you notice, the Escalute, what is inside of that? See where it says Nadane?
Oh, Nadane, yeah.
Right. So then the Nadane are that color, right? They're not the Escalute. But I'm showing that the Escalute is everything on the outside. The two colors on the outside, they relate to, well, actually, and the little yellow, but they relate to Escalute. Then only the stuff in the middle. No, I remember now. The stuff in yellow, that's the Tlingit. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
I remember now. That's Tlingit. The rest isn't, but it's all Nadane though. Tlingit is still Nadane.
Right.
So I'm just trying to say, Aleut is the stuff on both sides. On the outside, the coastal people.
Yep.
And then all the inside is all Nadane. Although I think all that stuff was Nadane, and then the new people came and then they spread their language and DNA and stuff.
Okay.
But it doesn't matter. They're all similar. All these things have same shamanism. So they're all related. That's what I'm trying to help you understand too.
Right.
So and Graham Hancock does like to talk about shamanism, but I don't think he seems to know much about it, other than that they take drugs and he thinks they knew things or whatever.
Right.
He also thinks these people that taught everybody were shamans, which, okay, they could have been shamans, people that built the mounds. I'm not saying that. That's probably accurate.
Sure.
Okay, I'll go with that. That's about the only part that I go, oh, okay, yeah, the people that built the mounds, people that had, but they're saying that the ancient seafarers that traveled around did think, no, that's inaccurate. But anyway, so I'm trying to show is it all comes around the area of Lake Baikal, and so that's to understand. That's also where I said I think around that circle is really the world's mythologies. Is basically starts in that sort of an area. There may have been ones that were before that, but once that spread around, that's where everything came from. I mean, amazingly amounts of stuff.
Right.
To me, can be, I think, traced back to that. So go ahead and read what it says.
Sure. Several linguists and geneticists suggest that the Uralic languages are related to various Siberian languages and possibly also some languages of northern Native Americans. A proposed family is named Uralo-Siberian. It includes Uralic, Yukagir, Eskimo Aleut, or Inuit, possibly Nivka, and Chukotko Kamchakan. Haplogroup Q is found in nearly all Native Americans and nearly all of the Yeniseian Ket people, 90%.
So pause right there for a second. So do you see how when I show all that stuff for Q that I made you toil through, all those movements, see why it's important? It also explains this picture here of the religion, because we already know that they travel with their brains and they took shamanism with them.
Yeah, that's right.
So
for sure.
After you understand all that, that's the most logical thing. Anyways. And just like, so the picture. So we know the ones that went, say, to Europe, those probably went with the R, right? And the ones in the Middle East is the R. But then the other side of this shamanism stuff was Q and C, right? They all would have had shamanism in that circle.
Yeah.
Right. So what I'm saying is, but who took it around wasn't the same DNA.
Right. Makes sense. Yeah.
So, all right, good. And then the next picture just shows the languages, the language families. They're doing, I think, similar to the same stuff. See what I'm saying? These are
that's the one with the grayed out and some of the red spots.
Yeah, the red spots. The red spots are all languages. And also, by the way, the one it's not shown on here, but I do think it's highly possible. The red one that's above Turkey. You like see Africa? Then there's that peninsula sticks out on one side, Palestine. The other side is Saudi Arabia. And then there's Iraq, and then right above that is Turkey, and then right above the Cossack Mountains, then there's that little red thing. That's the Cossack languages. I do think it's very possible to me that the Cossack languages went down to and became Sumerian or influenced it. Sumerian has several loan words from Turkey, so it's not like especially metallurgy. But anyways, but my point still is that I think that either it's a semi-direct, like a different dialect maybe, or it was just heavily influenced. But anyways, But my point is that these things, the Basque supposedly comes from the Cossack Mountains also. But see how everything is not like doing the same thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But the one that's the most important is Yinsen. Yinsen area, the western side, right, of Lake Baikal, not the eastern.
Yep.
The western side is sending languages all over the place.
Right.
Right. That's the one that's doing the most rocking and rolling. But anyways, my point is so you can see the connection. So going back to the Yinsen, why I think Yinsen probably relates to Proto-Indo-European also. And there's all kinds of way I know QDNA was interacting with R1B. And so I know the QDNA is the Yinsen and the R1B is the transfer. But anyways, let's go ahead and read Dan Caucasian, the writing.
Yeah, so Dene Caucasian is a discredited language family proposal.
And I don't agree it's discredited, so keep going.
Okay.
Well, they say it is because they're trying to only do it with linguistics. But I think that if you do what I'm trying to show you, if you do it in that sequence, it literally fits the DNA, what it's doing, and then the transfer of ideas to me. So but yes, so yes, it's currently, people say it's not, but I'm trying to show you if it is that accurate. Just like this, the thing of this, China and the Yinsen languages are siblings, meaning there was an older parent language for both of them. The Chinese languages are related to the Trans-Eurasian languages. They're the parent. Chinese languages are like a parent almost of or certainly related to the stuff that's the Trans-Eurasian, which Trans-Eurasian is Mongols, is Turks, it's Korean and Japanese. But so those ones are a certain, are related to, and then I think those ones relate the Trans-Eurasian or Proto-Trans-Eurasian or something that I think relates eventually to the Uralic languages that go to the Sami.
Okay.
So, but like I said, even trying to explain that, it's kind of complicated. But I know because I understand the movements of people in the DNA and then what's happening. Anyway, so but they're just talking about linguistically. So they think linguistically they probably don't, and I'm telling you, I think and already the the Dame Jensen, which is part of that, used to be they didn't, but then the guy proved it, or made it
Okay.
that there's a connection. So I think that they need to look at it and put it on a map with the DNA and what people are doing.
Right.
I think that is a pretty, at least that's, put it that way. That would be my, hypothesis or speculation or whatever.
Okay.
But yeah, it's discredited.
Right. Discredited language family proposal that includes widely separated language groups spoken in the Northern Hemisphere, Sino-Tibetan languages, Yeniseian languages, Burushaski and North Caucasian languages in Asia, Na-Dene languages in North America, and the Vasconic languages from Europe, including Basque. Okay.
Right. But you see, it says a narrower connection.
Yes, a narrow connection specifically between North American Na-Dene and Siberian Yeniseian, the Dene-Yeniseian language hypothesis, was proposed by Edward Badja in 2008 and has met with some acceptance within the community of professional linguists. The validity of the rest of the family, however, is viewed as doubtful or rejected by nearly all historical linguists.
And I'm just saying that just like before, they didn't think Na-Dene and the Jensen related. I think they need to relook at this stuff. And
right.
Like I show with the DNA and understanding everything, you put it together. Yeah.
It could still be related if you tie them together, right?
With the movements of people and then the movement of ideas.
Yeah.
So when you look at the mounds, they're literally doing this, what I'd show you on the map. They're doing this similar thing.
Right.
They're starting in Western Siberia and they're going to the Cossack Mountains.
Yeah.
They're literally doing exactly what all of a sudden, if you put these things in the context of related languages, it makes more sense. The DNA is doing this. The DNA shows up from the Na-Dene shows up. The Na-Dene DNA shows up in the Cossack Mountains.
Right.
So maybe it was not Jensen, maybe it was Na-Dene that came to the Cossack Mountains and inspired the Cossack Mountains. Fine. Maybe Na-Dene is the one that relates to Sumerians. Fine with
right.
me. Because that's still, once again, I know they're related somehow because the people, the Sumerians and the people in the Cossack Mountains were interacting.
Right.
They both had kings and they were, they're both doing similar, and they would buy their gold beads. Anyways, from the mountains. But anyway, so I'm just saying that the cultural things, there's too much accuracy that I don't see how this isn't highly possible.
Right.
But anyways, that's fine. It doesn't matter. I'm not trying to prove this either. Right. I'm just saying this is what it looks like. I know the DNA is doing this, and for sure also I know their religious ideas are doing this. So if it's not the language, I just think, okay, that's odd, but okay. Because it sure looks like that's what it's doing.
Right, right.
But anyways, and people also, my point was, this is also not just me. Someone else, several people proposed this. And then even part of it, when everybody said it was none of it was good, part of it, someone proved, now it probably is good. And like I said, I think you better look at some of this other stuff because I think a lot of it is good.
Right, yeah, like it may be a more evidence-based like theory than previously thought. Yeah.
To me, this is what I would say. To me, it's just like Proto-Indo-European, which also is almost in the Cossack Mountains. So it's interesting, and that's why I think also is important. The Cossack Mountains languages are not the same as Proto-Indo-European. So they're not related. So but then again, the Cossack Mountains do have the similar sort of Nadane DNA, and the other one doesn't. So you know what I'm saying? I don't. Anyways, but it's interesting. So I was saying, to me, that would say that I think it's related to Jensen or to Dane. My opinion. Okay. That's probably the influence. Anyways, but the religion though is similar there as it is in the Proto-Indo-European. Both of them are almost like Earth Diver or World Tree or Mound of Creation, or they all have this, or World Turtle or something. They all have these similar things, right? The Proto-Indo-European is more like, say, the Axis Mundi, World Tree thing, even, but they all have this similar kind of stuff. And it all goes back to this thought of the different levels of the 3 levels of the world, just like they believe in 3 classes of people. They're like, I can't remember off the top of my head now what it is, but it's like king, and then somebody, and then maybe commoners or something. And, anyways, and they feel a good king is from all 3 classes somehow or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, I'm talking about in Proto-European myth thinking.
Right.
Or whatever. So that's all. It's just relating that about 3. That's why the whole Trinity thing is like probably 30,000 years old, and not some new thing that Christians invented.
Yeah, for sure.
Which we talked about before. All right, let's keep going down. Skip all that writing. There's tons of writing that talks about why and things and what Proto-European mythology. I don't want to get into all that though. Keep going down. Let's go down to the next picture. So the next picture, I'm showing Lake Baikal, and this shows interesting things this lake does. Like this lake, those bubbles is frozen bubbles of methane. This actual fire, ice can catch on fire, which I'm sure there's mythologies about fire ice,
Absolutely.
So this literally can do that.
If
cut a chunk to walk and then light it on fire.
If there wasn't a myth about fire ice that could start on fire before, it should be based on this lake one now, right?
But I'm just making a comment that my point also, I don't know that every single thing, but I'm showing you, look at this stuff and think animistically.
Right.
If you think animistically, this lake is not a normal lake. This lake's ice in the winter catches on fire.
Yeah.
This lake has all these amazing bubbles that looks weird as hell. It has weird animals that are like prehistoric in that lake. It's one of the deepest lakes. You know what I'm saying? So, and it gets these round circles. Like nature is doing odd things in the water. See that? It says circle of thin ice.
Yep.
And then the other one is cracks in the ice. And the ice also is showing different colors. And then the sky behind it. This is like my art of like an actual picture. I'm trying to show how dynamic it is.
Right.
It would literally look stunning, right?
Yep.
So you can see how someone would see that and think, this is an amazing place. Look at that mound or whatever,
Yeah.
And then I'm trying to show how big it is. See here at Lake Baikal, and I have the Caspian Sea and Lake Baikal. And then the thing in red is Lake Superior, just so you can show how, if you know how big Lake Superior is, that's how big it relates to those other 2 places. Trying to help people get a grasp of, like size and stuff. The lake is. Yep. And then so then the other thing too on this lake is these rocks. They literally like lift out of the ice. And see, I think that this stuff, thinking animistically or whatever.
Oh yeah.
I could see where the Mound of Creation literally coming out of the freaking water.
It's magic.
It's magic. This is doing something, right?
Of course, it's magic.
Right. I'm just trying to say, and I'm not even making fun of the people who think that. I think this is a lot more logical that native beliefs would end up starting in this than it is to believe in a God.
Yep.
Because this, at least you're looking at nature and you're going, I'm trying to figure out what this amazing thing is.
I can't come up with any explanation for this. It must be something extra.
See? Exactly. But at least I can go, okay, I can see that happening. Without science, 100% could see that happening. That's what I'm trying to say. This lake, I can see why it's possible that myths came from it. It literally does amazing things.
Yeah, for sure.
And then go down, like there's another frozen part. Looks like this big thing sticking out. Isn't that wild?
For sure. That's
and
cool.
then also that makes all these ice shards, like a lot do. But I'm just making a comment. A lot of lakes I'm talking about that freeze. But I'm just making a comment. All this stuff, I think, make it like wonderland,
Yep.
where I can see them coming up with these magical thinking beliefs. And then go ahead and it says the Yinsen River Basin.
Yeah, so the Yenisei River Basin. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I'm terrible.
It includes Lake Baikal. Nomadic tribes such as Ket people lived along with the Yenisei, and this region is the location of the Yeniseian language family.
Right, and you remember way before I showed you the DNA map of that exact thing and the Yeniseian, remember?
Yeah.
And it's like 17,000-year-old DNA or something. 17,750 maybe something. Anyway, and you see, look how deep it is, Lake Baikal.
Yeah, that's wild.
See, it's deeper than the Caspian Sea, and it's a lot deeper than Lake Superior, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
Crazy, right?
Yeah.
Because imagine if you started going down this lake and you literally couldn't get to the bottom.
Right.
Like, this is like unbelievable.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like the ocean almost. Like how deep
exactly. Like, so, and this right here shows a glyph that was carved in the area of Lake Baikal.
Okay.
And to me, I think my opinion, I think it's a creature. I think it's a shapeshifter crow, probably, or eagle.
Okay.
And that's probably the sun, or he's creating the world, and that's Axis Mundi in the center dot. Something. Anyways, it's something like that. But because there are stories where I think the crow is related to the Earth being done, and also birds are related to a lot of Earth diver myths.
Right.
Either they catch a human female falling, the ducks or geese or crows or whatever, or birds help other animals sometimes build the mound, start creation, or sometimes a trickster bird wants to have somewhere to play or do something, and so he creates this thing you're not supposed to, but he does it anyways. But anyways, my point is, birds are a big deal. So I don't want to keep going on that. But about the lake. And so I think that all this stuff, once again, we've already talked about, is important. Next picture shows the lake again, shows the countries, China, Mongolia, Siberia, Kazakhstan. And it shows you how the DNA relates to the lake Baikal, right? You see that?
Mm-hmm.
C on the east side, Q on the west side. And Q is the Yinsen people. Isn't this making sense now?
Mm-hmm. I think we've seen some of these pictures in previous conversations.
We have. I'm trying to put them in context now.
Yeah, they didn't make as much sense then as they do now.
Right, because you've seen all the DNA and we're going slower. Yeah, it starts to make more sense. And you start to see what I'm saying. We know what kind of happened, and we know where and why. And then, like I said, when you start triangulating that's where all the myths come from,
right?
Well, then that makes sense. It's all the DNA came from,
right? Yeah.
But the languages came from there too. Well, yeah, it's where all the DNA came from.
Yeah.
Anyways, not to keep going on about that, but then see the Hongsheng culture right there in North China, real close to the cDNA. Yep. That one is the oldest pyramids in China.
Right.
5,000 years ago, pyramid. So yeah. And also they had pig dragons. The reason pig dragons are important because in the shaman rock of Siberia, what is there but a pig dragon or something?
Right. Yeah.
Right. Looks a hell of a lot like those things they were creating. I'm not saying I know that's related, but I'm just saying, look at this interesting rock that's been there since people were there 25,000 years ago.
Yeah.
And look at how these people down there in China are making these things that look a lot like that shit right there.
Yeah.
Certainly cool. Right? But so I'm trying to show once again, like a logic. It's not an illogical jump to this thing. It's pretty close. It has connections to these other hunter-gatherers Also, its connection to Lake Baikal, which happens to have a thing that looks a hell of a lot the shit they're creating.
Yeah.
Anyways, so then go down. The next picture shows NDNA, and NDNA shows going from China where they made pottery, and then goes to Lake Baikal, and then goes all the way up and becomes Sami.
Right.
So we're trying to help show, like I said, I want people to grasp this is all understood once you understand the DNA. And then the next picture shows once again the different DNAs and then becoming the different cultures, and also has times and stuff, and trying to put it in context so you can see where the Jensen was bigger, all of West Siberia,
Yep.
And you see NDNA goes through the Jensen area, and so it picks up similar ideas to the Jensen. So even though it's a different DNA, it actually goes to Sami, but actually goes through the Jensen people's religion.
Right.
And then amazingly shows up and similar to the Jensen people's religion. Yeah, what a shocker. But anyways, so it just shows all these cultures are interacting too. So once again, it's not exactly one thing going one way, doing one thing, right? Did you see that?
Right. Yeah. They're moving all over the place.
Yeah. And it's not everybody doing everything, not one. Once again, it is not even if you said this, it's not one culture doing everything, right? No.
In a way, it really makes it clear that the one culture thing that Graham Hancock is doing,
a myth.
It's absolute nonsense.
Yep, it is absolute nonsense.
You've got so many different groups of people, cultures, DNA going from place to place, doing different things, sharing knowledge in different ways.
Sharing, yeah, okay, but not the way Graham Hancock envisions it.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Not just one group that went everywhere and taught all these people.
If it's one group, it better be Asia.
Right.
I'm just saying, not one people, but once again, I will admit my people are Asians, but okay.
Yeah.
Original. For sure. But you get what I'm saying, if you're going to be honing it down to the area that is this where all these cultures that relate come from, it better be Asia.
Yeah, it has to be.
Certainly, if you're saying that Siberia is out of the question, then your ideas are out of the question.
Yeah, that's right.
Anyway, that's hopefully what I'm trying to help you understand. This area you know nothing about and always thought it was some bullshit, area that didn't matter. Siberia. It's a place where they go torment people by putting them out there.
Yeah, that's right.
No, actually has to do with a shitload of world history.
Yeah, and even like more modern world history, I've learned that Siberia, much of it is actually a lot like southern Canada. Like people live there and have lives.
Yeah, definitely. Of course,
it's not a barren wasteland.
No, but you're right. But you get my point. Is that that's the bigotry. That it's a barren wasteland, and anyone there is lucky that the government showed up,
right,
and forced them to stop their language, their religion,
just
cut off their hair, change their clothes,
just like Canada, the United States. They're lucky we showed up so that we could destroy their culture and force them to assimilate.
Yes, exactly. So anyways, as always, we have to remember that truth. But I'm just showing you that you're getting when I show all this, right? That yes, it's all related, but it's so fucking complex and so many different DNAs. To say it was all one people or one culture is wrong.
Yeah.
One area, now that's closer. That's what I give an idea that it's more like a generalized area.
Yeah.
But that area is not like it's Asia. So it's
still a pretty decent sized area with a bunch of different groups of people in it.
But you get what I'm saying. I'm basically saying it's North China, Mongolia and Siberia, that's it.
Yeah.
Yep, that.
For sure.
Anyways, so then this right here is a next picture. Shows the we're gonna try to go faster than get done because But anyways, this right here shows that where that DNA went more and more distinct thing of what's happening. So you see that you have the Tlingit area, and then you have the Haida and the. I'm probably saying all these names wrong too. I don't know how to pronounce Tishim Shan. I don't know. I know I'm saying that wrong.
Yeah.
Anyways, those three cultures, just so you know, that's why they're in a block, right? It says North Coast. They're in that white block.
Yep.
Those are considered to be the similar, right? Or this, not same, but
right,
to share very, very similar things. Different languages, but similar culture, sort of. And these ones are super warlike.
Okay.
Had armor and all that stuff. I mean,
interesting.
Yeah, they made armor out of wood. But anyways, which is an interesting idea. Like, why didn't more people do armor with wood?
Yeah.
Because that literally seems like a great idea. A piece of oak. You ever try to hit some of the oak? Shit,
right.
It might well be metal.
Yeah.
Or something close. Anyways, but actually what I'm trying to show on this right here is Damien's thinking is these are all connected. All three of these. Of course, they all, I think, central on the Tlingit.
Okay.
Tlingit ideas went down to all of this and influenced all this culture, all these languages.
Yeah, I don't see why that couldn't happen. Like,
and like I said, remember, these Tlingit DNA way up where it's at is what relates closest to everybody in South America and Central America.
Right.
So, I don't know.
So they must have traveled through here somehow.
Yeah, see, what I'm trying to throw down, right? You get the logic of it, right? Well, if it's that down there, to think that it didn't go along the coast to get down there is odd.
Yeah.
That's probably what they did. And then you look at the actual cultures and you go, well, that looks culturally like what they did. But even better is, of course, the next picture, which is the hand language. Pretty odd that the entire coast from California all the way to Alaska is the same hand language. Almost as if all those people migrated and had a similar thing, like I was already trying to say. Right?
Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah. That the cultures and then the hand language kind of lines up, that someone was going down the coast from Alaska down. And then remember, we have the Kennewick man, remember, in Seattle, which I told you has isotopes from a glacier in Alaska.
Right.
So they know in his lifetime he drank water from a glacier in Alaska, meaning he had to probably come down on a boat, because that's a lot of traveling, right?
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah. Anyway.
That's just one individual traveling that far.
Right, but the individual, of course, is QDNA too, which we already talked about.
Right.
Sort of extensively. But anyways, so that I'm just saying, this right here shows that same thing. The people from Alaska went all the way down to California.
Yeah.
Why is that important, Damien? Well, they did that about 5,000 years ago. You know the time that the Tlingit language is? And let's go down more.
Okay.
Here's once again this shows the next map shows the Brazil, right, where the Shell Mounds show up.
Yeah.
And then the map below is the DNA of Q showing up. And if you look, the Shell Mound almost is 8,000, right? Shell Mound is almost where the Q DNA shows up to.
Mm-hmm.
So to think that it has no relation.
Right. Yeah, no, they're definitely
odd.
Yeah.
So Graham Hancock, we don't have to wonder, how did those Shell Mound get there?
I don't see a lot of R1B over here. Is that disproved?
Well, remember R1B, as far as Graham Hancock, were seafarers, and they never had sex with anybody, because that's what men do. They never want to have sex with anybody. No,
they just go there, share their knowledge, and leave.
And don't leave any artifacts from some other place that would help understand, because there is DNA and like items that go from Polynesia to the Americas. We can see, and also back to the Polynesia. Something from Colombia goes DNA wise to Papua New Guinea, where the tiki head things are. No,
right.
What are they? Those
Yeah,
big
isn't that
heads?
Papua New Guinea?
No, not Papua New Guinea. No, Easter Island. I'm trying to think.
Yes.
Easter Island. So people from Colombia, DNA goes to Easter Island because the people on Easter Island, they have, I don't, maybe it's 30% or something, or maybe it's 50. I don't know. They have a high percentage from Colombia. So it's obvious that there's some sharing going on. Anyways, but I don't want to go into that. So this shows that, of course, remember qDNA, right? It goes through the whole Amazon. Do you see that on the DNA map?
Right. Yep.
And then then go back to the center of the thing. And what did they do when they went through there? Well, it looks like they made a bunch of mounds. The related cultures later, right?
Right.
The whole Amazon has tons of mounds.
Huh.
So I'm just saying about shell mounds and mounds. See, these are shell rings. Well, remember, didn't they have shell rings in Japan? Yes, they did.
Yep.
Right. So, and then the other thing shows these mounds. But I think all these things are degraded, of course. So they shell mounds now look like, hard to tell what they are. But originally, they were like pyramids or whatever. Or, at least step pyramid in the fact.
Right.
Or like a platform mound kind of thing, with something on top.
Yeah, they're laid out in a specific type of shape.
Right. It's literally because they used to think it's garbage. And of course, garbage that the native people put their elders in or their elite in. Yeah, because that's always what people. Of course,
that's not a racist assumption at all.
Of course, I think that, just to be honest, my personal opinion, billionaires are garbage. It's that they're behaving in garbage in the way that they do things. How about that?
That's right.
So, saying that the elite were in garbage, as far if you're talking about our billionaires, sure, yeah, the oligarchs in the world, yeah.
But on the other hand, it does seem to be that most cultures don't put all their elites in the garbage.
Yeah, unfortunately, they're not all anarchists. So elites are literally garbage. It's just like as you know, and I've said before, I'm voting for whoever is going to beat Trump.
Yeah.
Not because I think the person who's beating Trump is a shining example of who I want to be the person leading anything. So, and I just wanted to say that. And to me, that's just my person.
Harris. That's who it is.
Well,
I'm pretty sure she's going to beat. I'm actually pretty sure she's going to win now.
Yeah. But as you notice, if you ever see my thing, I once in a while say things bad about Trump, not like constantly, but once in a while, I fucking hate him. And just once in a while, I say things, but really, I don't even go really hard on him. I just showed what's wrong with the world. That as an anarchist, attacking these momentary pieces of shit, even Hitler, right? I don't spend all my time attacking that, which you should attack it. I'm not saying, but
right.
My point is, I want to show you what's wrong with the world. It doesn't matter which authoritarian dickhead is fucking ruining it.
That's right.
Yeah. I'm trying to show that's the shit we don't want.
Yeah, it's like fascism is bad.
Yeah.
Hitler was one guy who did fascism.
Right. And certainly authoritarian. That's certainly because a lot of things that people complain, right? They go, oh, he's a far rightist. He personally, maybe Nazism is a far right ideology, possibly. But Hitler himself was a centrist. But what people don't like about him is not his being a centrist, which centrists can irritate me sometimes, but I'm far right, fucking sure.
Yeah.
Anyways, but even sometimes the far left, when they talk about just killing people and shooting them, and that's their utopia, I'm like, what?
That's just
how's it anyone's utopia? Come on.
That's the libertarian of us in us, right? That's why we're the libertarian types, the anarchist types. We don't buy into that authoritarian fucking I just want to murder my enemies bullshit. No.
So going back to that, when people going back to about the mounds. So when people put people in mounds, it's generally, unfortunately, a celebration of the elite. Yes. Not my fan kind of a thing to do. Now, the next picture is talking about the languages again, because I care about that. And then you see there's a whole coastal language. Let's go back up to the thing. The picture above in the top left corner, those shell mounds are along the coast, right?
Right.
You see how far in they are? Remember that really quick, that picture, and then go down to the one of the there's 4 pictures on top of that, and then the top one on the right, the Chalupi. Do you notice it also is along the coast, just like the Shell Mounds?
Right.
So if Graham Hancock wants to say that they did it, built their own Shell Mounds, that language, or a proto of that, I would be fine with that. That's not what he does, though.
No.
So my theory is crazy. The indigenous people built it. I'm just trying to explain how it relates.
Right.
So there's no war between me and any archaeologist. I like and agree with almost all the shit they say. The only time I ever have any issues when they think that nothing is connected, and I'm like, or things are only lightly connected. I'm like, they're heavily connected.
Yeah, which is more like a disagreement about people who agree on the evidence.
Yeah, exactly. Well, also, I don't see a lot of them taking all the things I put together as evidence that relates to each other and telling me, oh, that's wrong.
Yeah, no, that's right. Once they see all the various strains of evidence that you use, often they go, oh, that's really interesting. I think that's entirely possible that you're right.
Right, which is also why I've been cited in articles and not Graham Hancock. Or he might have been cited for not good reasons.
Right, yeah, that's right.
Like, look at this guy. We don't agree. Anyways, so let's go down to the next one. Next picture about Canada.
Okay.
Yay, Canada. Right. So this is the actual oldest sort of mound like this.
Okay.
Actually, in the world, the first, because this is older than the ones in France.
But
I still think it relates, but not. They both have DNA that has to do with X, I think X2. But once again, people have to realize, I think it's X2A or X2B. So, and X2B and X2A are not the same. X2B is in France. X2A is in Americas.
Yeah, it's the A and B that makes a difference there.
Yeah, guess what? They both left Siberia and went different ways.
Oh,
one went to Europe and one went over to the Canada.
And if they hadn't gone separate ways, they might have stayed X1, right? Or whatever.
Well, they still could have been. Well, they split. Remember, the DNA split.
Right. So then,
they split. Of course, they could have stayed there. They could have both, because that sometimes happens.
X1A and B staying in this. Yeah.
Gets more breaking, but stays in the general area. So that's not. No, but I'm saying is they didn't. In other words, it's not that the people from America went over to France, or that France, as people like the Graham Hancock, the white people, didn't go over to the Americas and build this. That this is some evidence of America actually being inhabited by white people first, right? From France, no less, right?
Yeah.
You get what I'm trying to say? Fucking nonsense. No. And I don't have enough time at the end of this video to explain all why it's nonsense, but I'm not going to. But it certainly I could if you had to. But anyways, so just showing that this happened. This is where it happened. This is actually like a dolmen thing or whatever, or a Kurgan grave or something, with stones. Or what do they call it? A cis grave or something.
Okay.
But anyways, my point is, so it already was happening with Native Americans.
Yeah.
And it wasn't Europeans.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing. Anyways, so go ahead and read what it says real quick. 7,714-year-old grave of a young boy.
Yeah, so it's 7,714-year-old grave of a young boy from the red paint or red ochre maritime archaic culture and the oldest known burial mound in North America. The red paint people are a pre-Columbian culture indigenous to the New England and Atlantic Canada regions of North America, in which they mainly flourished between 5,000 to 3,000 years ago.
Right, and they also built shell mounds, just saying. So, yeah, what an amazing thing that they do that.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway, so then the next picture, this shows the France theory, because it is interesting. It is interesting that France in that little spot and almost straight across over in Canada,
right,
both have X2 DNA.
That is interesting.
But like I tried to clarify for the conspiracy theorists, they got there because they went from Siberia 2 different ways, not because they went across the water.
Yeah.
Because one, put it this way, they know the one didn't give birth to the other. They actually split somewhere totally different.
Right.
They could tell what the places. The X2B goes even to Israel and stuff. The X2A does not.
Right.
So, or something like that. I can't remember exactly what I meant. But there's different ones. And people say, oh, the Jewish, that proves the Mormons correct that the Hebrews, because Hebrews have X2A. Okay, so they have native DNA or Siberian DNA, and the natives also have Siberian DNA. It's not that everybody has Jewish DNA to see.
And also,
you got that backwards.
Yeah. There are 0 things in the universe that show the Book of Mormon is correct.
I was just clarifying for anyone that had hopes.
Right. Yeah.
That's not what happened. Don't get a conspiracy theory. I'm explaining it looks interesting, but things can look interesting, and that's not what happened.
Yeah, that's right. And you don't have to make up your nonsense to justify your religious beliefs.
Right.
Yeah.
So anyways, I'm just saying it is interesting, though, that these 2 things I wanted to show that. Yes,
for sure. That is interesting. Yeah. I find it very interesting because, as you've explained throughout the entire video and in previous things, is that the way that these branches moved away from each other but carried with them beliefs, culture, ideas about how to bury people and how to fucking build things and what to build out of. This is interesting. Humanity is interesting.
Right? It is the real truth. And like I said, it is amazing that this later became dirt mounds and then became pyramids.
Yeah,
the dirt mounds were made in the shape of pyramids, and a lot of the shell mounds were made in shape of pyramids. So it's really not like they're all kind of the same. You quit calling
it's very interesting.
Yeah. So let's go down more. So this real quick shows France. This is the one where I told you the shells are around the people.
Oh yeah.
These women were killed. And anyways, and then there's another burial that's on Hoedic, whatever it is. Oh yeah. That person or female, I think, was also buried with those red things are horns.
Okay.
I'm trying to show that the horns are about under the body.
Interesting.
Anyways, and so there's a shell mound too. There's a little shaman praying in front of the shell mound.
Right.
And there are shell mounds. All these red dots on this map. There's St. Gibbons or whatever it is, and then there's Tikivik, which is where these 2 women are.
Okay.
And then if you notice Tikivik or whatever it is, Tvik, just little tiny bit to the east is Karnak, which is all those stones built probably by hunter-gatherers, which is these people doing this burial like this with the antler head.
Yeah.
And making shell mounds, And then once again, remember, this is a similar that picture showing you that on the other side of the world, over in Canada, that they were doing shell mounds and they were doing the similar kind of monolithic stone stuff as hunter-gatherers, Graham Hancock. Right? And yes, I will agree it's probably shamanism. So, okay. He's got one accidentally got one fact correct.
Right.
All right, I won't read about all that. We'll go on to the next picture. Next picture, because we're almost done. Next picture is going to real quick. Next picture just shows the different mounds that and how the culture set up things. You see how that, like the one in there's a Shell Midden site in Kentucky.
Yep.
And it's I think the mound is 5,000. Is that what it says? I think so.
5,220 to 3,420 years old.
Right, and you notice they put a thing on top. So the shell mound is actually like a little temple, right? Doesn't that what it looks like?
Right, yeah, for sure.
Right. And all the houses are little pyramids anyways. But then you have, or it's kind of. Once again, I'm not saying it's 100% exactly pyramids, but yeah, it kind of looks like pyramids.
Right. Pretty similar.
And also, just to understand, I think there's a concept that has to do with feng shui. But feng shui doesn't have to be limited to what you're thinking. Feng shui is a way of somehow getting benefit from the world, almost like a prayer or something, in the way that you arrange things.
Right.
And there's a thing in the sense of concept in China of living inside the box. And what a pyramid is just the thing on top of the box.
Right.
Just so you grasp what I'm saying. Anyways, just like those houses, they're actually, those houses all have little square boxes of dirt raised up platform and then house on top. Pyramid house.
Interesting.
Just showing you that once again. Anyways, so all these pyramids and stuff relate, and the next picture is California, showing all the one in the corner. The shows all these little dots are all shell mounds around San Francisco that are all gone.
Okay.
And wow. The one shell mound was really big, probably a temple, and had a thing on top. And I'm showing that it also is very similar to the one in North Carolina, because this is in California. I'm showing California and North Carolina has got a dirt mound. Not a shell mound, but they almost have the same shape.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Similar. I mean, they're both because of course the shell mound that you're looking at right now is degraded. So it would have probably been better. But that's just when they finally did like a research of it, that's what it looked like. But it probably looked more like the other one, more square or whatever.
Right.
See what I'm saying? But then the other one that shows that they basically destroyed it. That's what these are art of, is the actual thing when they destroyed the mound. Because,
Fuck. Yeah, of
fucking
course.
assholes. And the mound is, it's like a 5,000-year-old mound. And they freaking just destroyed it. Anyways, go down to Canada map, next map. It just shows how that all those things are culturally related. So Canadian stuff really has to do with the United States.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just, they're just extensions of the United States culture. But in a sense, the stuff like medicine wheels is what the other circles are, and actually it's the other way around. Canada had them first, so then they went into America. What now is, the U.S.
Yeah, what's now the U.S.
Yeah, the border, the fake border that somebody put up over
didn't exist when these were made.
No. So, but you see that what's going on. Anyways, the next picture you go down shows the shell mounds, and it also shows the different kind of first mounds and their dates and stuff, trying to help you understand, and then the pyramids, all these things and dates and the cultures. But I think there are, as I already showed you, it already started in shell mounds. It already started in these other cultures. It already started in cDNA coming in.
Right.
And QDNA had shell mounds at least. So, I mean, what a surprise. They both come from the same area. Anyways, and then the next pictures below showed the Hopo culture and the Mississippian culture and all those little things with the mounds and where they're at and how they're connected.
Right.
And then we'll keep going down. Then to Florida. Next picture, you see it?
Okay.
And all those are mounds, both shell mounds, and they all look like little pyramid sort of things.
For sure.
And so I'm trying to show you, and they're all about elite, right? They look like elite. If you saw that, you literally go, that looks like an elite thing. I mean, you would just like your natural instinct, and it would be correct.
They put their thing up on top of a pedestal, so.
Yeah. And sometimes it could be a temple up there too, but often allowed to go to only by the elite.
Right. Right.
Yeah, like the house of God, or God's house is on the top of a mountain. Oh, that's what that looks like.
Yeah.
Oh, like Mount Olympus. Or anyways, so it's a similar kind of thing. Anyways, the next one down is shell rings. And if you notice, shell rings also, they put stuff on top. And it's not like shell rings were devoid of areas that had mounds that looked like shell mounds or pyramids or stuff. So these things aren't like separate. It's like a connected grouping of things. Shell mounds, shell rings, all this, or like all the rings, medicine wheels or whatever. I think all this has a similar stuff.
Right.
They're doing it for similar reasons. And then go to the next picture is shell mounds, just showing a different ones in different areas. You see them?
Yep.
They have Australia, Saudi Arabia,
Florida,
Brazil, California, Maine.
Right.
Japan, South America, Peru. But anyways, so it's just to give you an idea. And the last picture, I'll go to the next one. So just two more, this one and then one more. So this right here, the next picture, you see it as, can you read it? It says the Golden Mountains, Lake Baikal.
The Golden Mountains, Lake Baikal area origin relates to sacred mountain beliefs. Holy, Mount Olympus in Greek, or special event, Mount Sinai in Judaism. Purely mythical, Hara Berazeti in Zoroastrianism. The abode of deities, Mount Kailash in Hinduism.
Right, and that's me trying to show that the ideas I'm going, mixing it back to the religion and showing how these things you can see are similar. Yeah. You already know the DNA did this. You already know the languages kind of did this.
Yep. Yeah, so culture did it too.
Right.
Beliefs, ideas.
Yeah. Right, and then you see here it says in the Egyptian religion, ancient Egyptian religion, yeah.
In one of the ancient Egyptian religion creation myths, Ben was the mound that arose from the primordial waters new upon which the creator deity Atum settled. The Ben stone, Pyramidion, is the top stone of the pyramid and is also related to the obelisk.
Right. See, did you know that?
Mm.
Right. So when I say that that's a mound of creation, and they're like, "Oh no, that's a pyramid for whatever reason," you know, I'm like, "Yeah, I know what they would influence originally, probably, you know." Because like I said, anyways, it's really crazy to have a mountain belief in the desert. I mean,
right? Yeah, that's right.
Makes you think just maybe it relates to mountains.
Anyways, yeah, it's not. It's not. Yeah, they weren't just there with no context and created a mountain myth.
Right, and I'm trying to show too. You have the Kurgan origins in the Western Steppe, and the Western Steppe goes down to Ukraine and the Cossack Mountains, which is literally the origin area of the Proto-Indo-European. It's like this is not like super far.
Yeah.
And so, and then also, I think, like I said, it goes to the Hongshang culture, which they also have pyramids.
Right.
And all this stuff starts seeming a lot more understandable. Like, where did it come from? Well, I think it came from this area. Yeah. And I've already showed you why. And I think all of this stuff. So don't get fixated on pyramids. I think kurgans and dolmens and pyramids, I think all of this has similar stuff. Shell mounds. These are not, to me, hugely disparately dissimilar. I think that they are hugely similar. Like, look at the Kurgan, right? They have a wood building inside of it, right? And you look at the one that says Denmark, right? That's a dolmen or a sisgrave, right? But what's on top of it is dirt, which is a little building of stones with dirt on top. And the other one is a little wood building with dirt on top.
Right.
The only difference is the material you're using. The concept is not like now let's go to pyramids. Often they have a burial in the center, or just like the Kurgan or the dolmen.
Right.
Anyways, I'm just trying to help you understand. Then the next picture, and we'll end on this one.
Okay.
Next time we're going to talk all about this. So we're not going to talk a lot about this. This is just to help you understand everything we already talked about. The white is the that's moving through to Western Siberia culture, and then eventually to the S culture. That is the stuff that came. Remember from N. Remember we showed Japan and N right up north of the Lake Baikal.
Yep.
That ends up going all the way over there and influencing that 7,000-year-old culture.
Right.
And it goes right through and becomes part of the fortified culture. And the fortified culture, I think, is where all the power comes from. Those first forts at 8,500, and then they move DNA and ideas, and all of a sudden, everywhere in Europe starts getting them fortified stuff to 7,000. Right. I told you 7,000 to 5,000 was all the violence starts when the male clans start taking over and warring everybody.
Right.
So you see all this stuff is like relating.
Yeah.
So anyways, and you see it's moving all out of Lake Baikal and the Yinsen River. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, cool. That's it. So what do you think, Gory? I tried to give my version of how the mounds, and then of course later how it becomes pyramids. But,
I think it's pretty cool actually. Like, I'm a big fan of the, different DNAs going to different places. I think that's super cool. Yeah, and even if they have a similar origin, and like I really like that one where they had in Canada and in France similar situations,
right?
And you go like, okay,
It
so
was
like
similar DNA,
yeah,
but
so
not the same version.
They went off, and like I find that so cool.
Right. In other words, like you're wondering what's the answer. Well, we know the answer.
That's right.
Well, that's thousands of miles. Yeah, it's amazing, right?
Yeah, that's right. That is amazing.
It's absolutely amazing. That's why real history is absolutely amazing. How in the hell did that happen? Well, it did. It's amazing.
Yep, that's right.
But it's just real, and not one culture doing everything or crossing, the water right there. No.
Yeah.
Because believe me, I always laugh too. People think that archaeologists are hiding stuff. If they could prove that, the fuck do you think they wouldn't want to? Of course they would want to.
Yeah.
Are you insane? But the problem they understand is what it would look like is that maybe Native Americans, because they're the X2A, I believe, X2A could possibly give birth to X2B. Probably not likely the X2B gives birth to X2A.
Right. Yeah.
So it would, and also for dates. So the one that's in Canada is 7,714. The one that's in France is 7,000. I think it's 7,000.
Right.
Okay. So what it would look like, people, is Native Americans went to France and built shit.
Yeah.
If you want to give your theory, it's not the France went to America and built one thing to, show off the white man's superiority. It actually would be the hunter-gatherer Native Americans if it's not what happened. But I'm just saying, if we followed their faulty logic, it's older in Americas. It's also with the DNA that's older. If you're going to say anything, then you better be saying that Native Americans went to France.
Yeah. Yeah. More so than any French person or people in that area of the world.
It doesn't work backwards.
Yeah, it doesn't work the other way. Yeah.
Didn't we follow the DNA? Remember, it starts one place and keeps breaking smaller down to It doesn't go the other way.
No, that's right.
But anyways, I'm just trying to show these different things because I know a lot of people have. Well, Damien, do you know this? What about this? Like, don't be conspiratorial. Look at the DNA. It's understandable.
Yeah. Like you say, the one in Canada, 7,714-year-old grave. The one in France, nearly 7,000 years ago.
Right. So I'm still cool, but yeah, and it's even cooler that they both have a similar X DNA, which is the female DNA. It's X2, like I said. But I think it's interesting. Wow, cool. That's not what happened, but cool.
Yeah. I find the idea that it just confirms for me, like the connections between humans, right?
Oh, well, did I not try to really emphasize the one human family at the beginning?
Yeah.
I absolutely fucking hate racism, and it's stupid as fuck. And that one guy said he has science, that Nazi. I hope you didn't have to listen to it. I was thinking you probably wouldn't want to listen to it just for the fact that if you hit it, you might get more content like that.
Yeah, no, I was didn't.
Also worried about if I even play this shit, am I going to get Nazi content from now on? Holy fuck. But anyway, so that's why I even put a little transcript of the Nazi, because I was like, you shouldn't even have to listen to that. Just
don't click on it. Don't click on it.
It doesn't get better listening to the fucking garbage.
No.
But anyway, so yeah. But I mean, it does which I know. I think Flint Dibble, but certainly Graham Hancock has been called out by John Hoops, who has definitely told him, why don't you say you disassociate yourself with these races?
Yep.
How fucking hard is that? And he won't do it. How fucking hard is it to say, because let's just give Graham Hancock the benefit of the doubt. He's nothing about him is racist, and he totally is anti-racist. If you're an anti-racist, and people take like so someone takes my stuff that I just explained, right, and somehow proves that white people are or not proves claims because it won't be proof. I already prove it's not the case.
Yeah.
So, but try to like use my stuff or say Asians, so somehow Asians are superior or some other or whatever bullshit.
Yeah.
Who the fuck knows? All I'm saying is anyone who uses my shit for that, fuck you. I'm not for fucking racism.
Yeah.
Fuck that. Of course,
it takes nothing to say I disavow the people saying that.
So all I have to think when someone does that is that maybe they are racist. Maybe
like they actually agree with it. They're perfectly fine, or they're happy that those people are using their content.
And I have not listened to everything that Graham Hancock says, so I don't know if maybe one time he said he doesn't. But let me tell you, if they were using my shit in my name and saying that I help promote the fucking great white race, I would absolutely make a video
that's right.
dedicated to fucking that bullshit being fucking killed.
Yeah, it wouldn't be an offhand comment. It would be a dedicated.
I'd be fucking. If they have my name, I'd be fucking dedicated video about why that's some fucking bullshit.
Yeah, that's right.
So I'm just making a comment that. So him not doing it, and certainly not making it, but he should have blogs on it. Why he fucking.
It speaks volumes, right?
Yeah.
Like it's like when people were trying to get Trump in 2016 to disavow the KKK support of him. And he's like, well, I don't want to do that. Like,
yeah.
Well, why?
I don't know who David Duke is.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but you can say, I disagree with the KKK, right? Like, you can say those words out loud.
How fucking hard is that?
Like, you can say that.
Yeah. Well, it should be very easy. Just like I was saying that the one person said to me, am I willing to change my belief? I am willing all the time. Do you think someone who can list that much information has not looked at shit?
Yeah, exactly.
Like if you come up with that conclusion, like that chick's right saying everything Damien does is not science or fact. Like if you watched my videos, I feel like most of it is science and fact.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
they obviously haven't watched any of them.
Well, so and so after watching on that, how was your impression?
Of this stuff?
Yeah, do you feel informed now?
Oh, more so than I did before, for sure. Like it seems to make a lot more sense than it has in the past. I mean, maybe that's because I've been around for multiple times of going through DNA information. So for a viewer, perhaps they'd have to go through a number of videos to really get into the DNA and find out what's
start with the one of the other ones, like the one on the prehistory of Siberia, which you talked about.
Yeah. That one, I think, that would probably really help.
But I think this is good too, because this of course the goal was the trying to do the mounds and trying to show, but also to do that, I really had to show the cultures and also the DNA and all that. Because that helps grasp like who's doing what, when, where, why, how.
Yeah, that's right. It's got to be you need a little bit of everything, even if you're going to emphasize like a particular aspect. You need a little bit of everything to really show the connections, right? Yeah,
that we did. And so next time we're going to talk about the mound stuff more. Because next one's going to be on this last picture in a sense, and then going from there down.
Right.
More stuff, but not on this blog. There's another one that's about mound migrations. Okay. This is about the mounds. Then we're going to learn about mound migrations, because that'll tell how it turns into pyramids.
Ah, cool.
Then we're going to talk about the mound builder myth. That's the next video after that.
Cool.
So that's when Corey, I hope, has read some of the book, and if not, then we're going to read it live on TV.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll be where you want to.
Well, I would like you to, if you could, at least get halfway, because you'll then fully understand how Mormonism relates to this,
right?
The mound builder myth and racism and all white and all this, and how U.S. government used it to kill Indians and take their land, and and I would think, like I said, anyways, this should interest you, Corey. It is a hell of a lot more than just about white people making up stories like Graham Hancock. It's about Atlantis also and all that, but it's about a U.S. government. It's about Benjamin Franklin and
Thomas Jefferson.
Thomas Jefferson, and
I read some of the stuff about Thomas Jefferson already. So
oh, you did,
yeah,
right. So you see what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
It's a lot more involved than you realize. It's a lot more. It was used to justify manifest destiny of whites.
Yeah.
So I mean, it literally is important if you're an anti-racist to understand this, because it absolutely explains the white racism and how it relates to the land.
Yeah.
So that's why we're going to deal with that. Also, because it also goes into this Aryan bullshit of fucking white people, which we've already explained is totally horseshit. That's not what the fuck happened. We used to go, yeah, but they look so similar. It had to be Egyptians, like or whatever. No, that's not what happened. Please watch these videos.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyways, thank you. Sorry, it's been a long and it's tons of information crammed, as fast as possible. But I appreciate it, Corey, because I really want people to understand this, because then they'll stop believing bullshit and understand how wonderful things were too. I mean, amazing.
Yep, for sure.
All right, well, go ahead and tell us about your stuff and where to find you.
I run the Skeptical Leftist podcast, and that also includes Read Reviews, which me and my co-host Justin, we talk about a variety of books from a Marxist and anarchist perspective. And I do interviews, and I'm currently working on some video essays, actually, including one I've written the script for where I talk about my transition from a conservative into an anarcho-communist. So
that's cool, because that's almost what my experience was. I went from a conservative and Republican, and then I stopped after George Bush Jr. the first time. And when I saw the shit that he did and stuff, I just was fucking done.
Yeah.
And but it wasn't until I became an atheist that I really started thinking more like an anarchist.
Right.
So that really was an inspiration for me. But then I know that it's interesting. Yours is not that dissimilar, really, from mine.
In some ways, yeah, it's very similar. But although I didn't come up with the obviously I didn't have the same abuse that you had.
Well, yeah,
I didn't have the same religious background as you did.
Right.
But,
and you weren't hated for being born, like being born out of sex. I was fucking, I was never accepted as the firstborn because they considered me not a male. So it's just
by all conservative accounts, I should still be a conservative. I should never have been I was never ostracized by society. I was always part of the majority. I should be on board with the status quo. And yet here I am.
Well, and I think it's great. I don't think that you need, and that's why I told you before, I don't think that your experience is any less valid than mine or anyone else. Your experience is valid. That's why I told you your experience gives strength and hope to people. It gives inspiration to people. It doesn't. And in other words, remember you said before, like my experience growing up in Orange County, and in I was born in Los Angeles County,
right?
But, being born in the areas with gangs and stuff, is totally different from yours. That doesn't make your experience not valid.
Yeah, it's just a different story, right?
Right, and so because that's because you're looking at the value. Is the value that's like when we connect with people anywhere in the world, right? It's not because we go, oh, look at how we're so different. We start to see the thinking, the needs, the wants, whatever, the love is the similar or it's the same.
Yeah, that's right.
It's so, and I think that's a hard thing to do. I know when you have conservative beliefs, because your beliefs are the only ones that matter, and it doesn't even matter if it makes sense
or if it hurts people. It doesn't matter if any. Yeah, no, that's right.
Well, yeah, going back to like the beginning of the video, the people defending capitalism that are not like rich, like
that's right.
Like when I said that I think we should tax the fucking rich and house the house the homeless. And this one goes, oh, you're convenient to give other people's money. I'm not giving other people money. Listen, in society, how can we say that we are doing well when anyone is homeless? Like this literally is just disgusting.
It's not other people's money. It's the money that other people have stolen from the working class.
Right.
That's it.
I agree with that also. But I think as being a part of society, I have no problem with them being taxed. I have no problem paying tax myself. I do have a problem massively with supposedly I'm supposed to pay 14-20%, whatever. And you have someone like Jeff Bezos or Amazon or whatever's a corporation. It doesn't pay taxes like at all, and yet makes millions or billions or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
Literally, yeah, like they pay less in taxes than your average person because they have so many
saying
loopholes.
We should tax them is fucking, I don't know, just ethical. Yeah. Shouldn't they at least be paying what their secretaries, fucking have to put out? The fucking CEO is somehow takes a lower tax, and that doesn't bother you? How does that not bother the fucking working class? Like, oh yeah, that's cool. Oh yeah, you get everything free. Oh, and I have no fucking food. Dude, go you. Like, how does people even do that? I just,
as Justin says, we socialize the losses and privatize the gains.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I've enjoyed talking to you, and I wanted to get to doing all this explanation so that we can debunk some bullshit and also share the truth. And also, it helps understand the rise of power.
Yeah.
Because this definitely shows the rise of power. And since you and me are not a big fans of hierarchy, the rise of power, not a fan.
Yeah, that's right. It's important to know about it so that we can do other things.
Better solutions.
Yeah.
Because I think that the patriarchy doesn't just hurt, women. It absolutely hurts men too.
Yeah, that's right.
So, just like they think that the manly, like I told you before, I really have no problem with someone said they're mannish, and I'm feminine. Okay, fine. I have no problem being feminine, so okay. Or being seen that way. But the fact that you think yours is better, that I do have a problem with.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? So it's literally the distinction is the bigotry. You can be as fucking manly as you want. I could great. Go fucking be you. Because I know some people don't like when people are manly. Go be manly. Fucking be as manly as you fucking want.
Yeah.
Go fucking nose hairs and braid them into a fucking thing or something, man. I don't, whatever.
Hell yeah.
Do you?
Hell yeah. Do whatever.
I'm going to do that, but I'm just saying, whatever, fucking do you. I don't, But so the problem is when you think, well, that's the only way to be a supposed man, and that's a fucking problem. Anyways, to me,
for sure.
So
all right,
we'll just to end it on the gender thing that we started with.
Yeah, that's right.
So
all right,
take care.
You too.
Hello, and welcome to my channel. I am Damien Marie AtHope. In the simplest terms, I am an atheist-humanist philosopher and prehistorical writer-researcher at DamienMarieAtHope.com. I am specifically an axiological atheist. An axiological atheism can be thought to involve ethical and value theory reasoned and moral argument-driven apatheism, agnosticism, atheism, anti-theism, anti-religionism, secularism, and humanism. Axiological atheists can be understood as a value theory or a value science atheist. As an axiological atheism's ethically reasoned and constructive pro-humanity. I am an axiological thinker, value theorist. The science of goodness, worthiness, usefulness, valuableness, virtue, reliableness, accuracy, validity, morality, integrity, beneficialness, etc., etc. We axiologists have a value consciousness. And in general, we see the architecture of humanistic humanitarianism value in people that we see as dignity beings. Places and things are not. Axiology is a value theory, in its broadest sense, it involves areas of philosophy that are deemed to encompass some evaluative or evaluation aspect. Therefore, it crosses almost all domains in some way or another. Now for a more detailed terms as to what I am. I am an axiological atheist, an anti-theist, an anti-religionist, secularist, humanist, rationalist, writer, artist, poet, philosopher, advocate, activist with schooling in psychology, sociology, as well as I am an autodidact, self-taught in science, archaeology, anthropology, and philosophy. I promote science and am against pseudoscience, pseudohistory, pseudomorality, things that are found in religion.